heavily.
Look at us now, tip to
Jesus.
Start the morning combat.
Do you want a margarita? Yes! My God!
to us, doing what we love. But it's time to bang. Oh, yeah, the new year is almost upon us, but we are still live and direct. Welcome into Morning Combat. Your parents are getting divorced, but they're putting it back together for a few more episodes for the sake of the children here. Monday, December 29th of the 25s. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you had a great one. Happy holidays across the board to whatever you celebrate. Brian Campbell live and direct from the Hartford, Connecticut suburbs. And with me, as always, my co-host from Columbia with love. It is Luke Franklin Thomas. Yes, Luke. Merry Christmas to you. How's everything, bro?
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Hello to everyone. I am today coming to you live. This is, you can see his artwork from Uncle Pepe's office here in a town outside of Bogota, Colombia. So,
dude, Pepe has used his pipe in that office many times, and you know it, okay? You know it.
It seems like a tranquil workplace, but I didn't put a black light in here first. So one only know, I have to guess.
You are setting a record for most episodes done in different Colombian locations on a single trip.
Well, here's the good and bad news. The good news is this is a wonderful place. The bad news is the internet here can be a challenge. Now, it does exist in good places, but it's not like, in America, dude, you just take gigabit speeds for granted.
Yeah.
You can't quite do that here. So in this office, it's fine. You'll see the connection today is great. But yeah, it can be a challenge to find the right place.
All right. Well, I'm very happy that you have stuck it out. You could have stayed on vacation and I could be here alone touching myself, but I appreciate you joining me on this goodbye tour, Luke. We have a loaded episode today. In fact, they put a gun to my head and said, BC, if we don't get out of here in under 2 hours, you're off the show for good. Try me. No, but
it wasn't too far from that, but yeah.
Got dicked down, Aljo style. Wow. So here's what I want to say. We have a great show for you today. Quick look at the latest news. We're going to look back on our 2025 predictions, make predictions for 26, hand out awards, go through your DMs, and pick through the kernels of my shit in 2 hours or less. Is that even possible?
We're going to have to touch and go here a little bit, BC. Kind of like you and well, actually, I don't want to make that joke, but
kind of like Mike Bond on a 747, right?
Yeah. Touch and I'm out. Smash and grab.
That's it. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Shout out to everybody watching on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, of course, the audio-only divorce dads at the grocery store. Keep at it, okay? Get back to the gym. Turn it around. You're still in the game. Let's say hello to the third member of our team. He's a bong enthusiast, director, producer, lover of all things Australia and Long Island, and he's the host of the Main Card Minute podcast. Yeah, he had a horned-up dad about 3 decades ago, but we don't talk about that. It's Luke Nocita. Yeah.
What's up, boys? Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope the Donks had a good Christmas. Looking forward to our award show today. How you guys feeling?
Great.
All right.
I mean, that's a weird question, but okay, just fine.
Yes. Luke, your beard is looking extra Papa Noel. No, not Luke Nocita, Luke Thomas. But Nocita, how did the family go? Was your dad fired up? You had a good time?
We didn't smoke any family joints, I'm not gonna lie, but we did have a good time. We did get lit. We were drinking some tequila drink. You know how that goes. It's 3 a.m. and you gotta go. But
there's only one tequila, by the way, that invented tequila.
It was Cuervo. It was Cuervo, by the way.
Very much. I love that. You can follow, subscribe to the show, tell your friends about it. The show ain't dying, by the way, okay? This thing is a machine that can't be stopped. I'm sure they'll appear at the bottom of the screen eventually. These handles follow our extended YouTube channels as well. Also, finally, the merch. I'm leaving, so it's a great time to have a sale. 50% off everything with BC's face on it. Farewell. I think the posters are gone, but the clothes are still available. Mix and match colors. The December exclusives, Master of the Universe, brought to you by the great Joe Romero of Average Joe Art fame. Check it all out at morningcombat.shop. All right, let's get right into it. A bit of unfortunate breaking news right off the top of the telecast. by way of Nigeria, where former two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua was involved in an automobile accident involving 2 cars, 5 humans, in which 2 perished, with Joshua exiting with what is being deemed as minor injuries. But the pictures and the videos are somewhat alarming, if we can throw to that here, as it's getting picked up all around the nation, all around the country, excuse me, in the world. Here's video of the accident scene. It took a long time for the authorities and the medical response to get there. Crowds piled around a shirtless AJ as he was removed from the vehicle. As we mentioned, 2 people died in the accident, a very sad breakdown of events. Luke Thomas, I don't know how you would react to this, but wow.
I'm not sure what to say. I don't know if there's a big takeaway other than thank goodness. Well, I mean, I realize that 2 people perished, but to the extent that anyone lived in this accident, that is obviously good. I certainly hope that AJ is okay. Obviously, condolences to the victims and their families. I would just say, BC, man, maybe he'll be fine. Maybe this is no big deal. We're just kind of reacting in the moment. But like last week, he was kind of on top of the world, and then here this week, what appears to be a near-death experience. Life can be quite fragile and quite short. So let's just hope for the best.
Yeah, well said. Shout out to Anthony Joshua and everybody affected by that accident. Not great news to wake up to on this Monday morning. We also, over the weekend, had the final major Kombat sports card event. Unless I'm missing any of New Year's Eve bowls.
Yeah, Ryzen starts, I think, tomorrow night. Mm-hmm.
All right, shout out to Ryzen. Just the same here. But it was boxing on Saturday as the Ring, I believe it was Ring 5 was the name of the event. It went down in Saudi Arabia, and it was headlined by a pair of Japanese superstars who are on a collision course to face one another this spring. Of course, in the main event, your pound-for-pound king, or at least he's right around #1 with Terrence Crawford's retirement. He may have retaken it. Naoya Inoue defended his undisputed 122-pound championship by outpointing unbeaten Mexican David Picasso over 12 rounds. Inoue was disappointed in himself that he didn't get the KO. But Luke, I got to give Picasso credit. I've called his fights in the past. He doesn't have big power. I didn't consider him on the elite world level, yet he showed great defense, great heart. He hung in there. Now, he did get largely blanked and outclassed, but everybody expected Inoue to walk right through him. There was a little bit of a hand wrap gate before the fight, but what could you say about the performance ultimately that we saw from the monster as he becomes the first fighter since former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes to defend the ring championship 4 times in a single year?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I thought about this one too in anticipation of today's show, BC. If people want to go back and see the fight, by the way, I hate to say this, BC and I were talking about this earlier today in prep for the show. Just nobody in attendance, right, BC? Like not, this is not the typical crowd that either Canelo or in this case, Inoue is accustomed to competing in front of. But putting that aside for just a moment, here is my thought on this, BC. On the one hand, this was more of a flawless performance, even relative to Luis Nery, BC, who dropped him, right? But what kind of made Inoue famous was that not just that he came back in that fight, but that he's got dominant power. He's a KO threat basically at all times. And so what people really remember is not so much that Inoue got knocked down, but that he feasted upon Nery in the end. You didn't get that this time, BC. But if you're looking round over round, how many visible mistakes did Inoue make? Again, even relative to the Nery fight, you're like, this one was a lot cleaner. This was a cleaner performance against... You can tell the audience how good Picasso actually is. He seemed durable, certainly, and game in as much as he could be, but thoroughly outclassed. I mean, there's really no question about it in the end. So I have mixed feelings about the performance, BC. On the one hand, I'm happy any mistake can be costly. Good thing Picasso's not a dominant puncher like, Nery is. But at the same time, was that trademark, almost Mike Tyson-esque expectation of Inoue fulfilled? No, and I think that left some people flat. To say nothing of the hand wrapping controversy. Although Stitch Duran said that the wraps are clean. He actually said
I did see that. So basically, it was he got accused of stacking his hand wraps, which under whatever commission jurisdiction they were using in Saudi Arabia, it was illegal compared to what he's used to in Japan. As Stitch Duran basically said, it was much ado about nothing. It was just positioning it on the knuckles as opposed to off. I don't know a ton about hand wrapping, but look, Inoue's in his 4th division as champion. So we know, like the great Chocolatito, when he finally hit his limit there at 115, that it's not going to be a straight knockout fest. This is kind of where his power levels off. But you got to give Picasso a lot of credit. And look, you may be confused by the name. Picasso's not his real last name. It's a nickname he's adopted as his surname. He goes by David Allen Picasso, sometimes just David Picasso, sometimes just Allen. Either way, not a big puncher, a somewhat classy boxer, but I actually thought this was the best performance of his career. He was confident. He was sharp. He wasn't winning a lot of rounds, but his ability to take what Inoue had to offer and go the distances was certainly impressive. This pretty much, we have awards today. They're very MMA centric, but Luke, this pretty much secures, I think, for back-to-back years, Naoya Inoue as your boxing fighter of the year. I mean, these were 4 title defenses. Not all 4 were at the highest level. He had to get through some mandatories, but he finally took on Murodjon Akhmadaliev and absolutely outclassed him. And I think what we're seeing at age 32 now from Inoue is he's leaning more on his speed and boxing ability, still using it to set up the power, but in the smaller weight classes, he's just walking you down with that power. We're seeing him have to box and be slick. He's still probably the best fighter in the world. I mean, Usyk isn't all that active at the moment. Crawford just retired. I think Inoue is the best fighter in the world. Back-to-back, he's the best fighter of the year. This was a strong performance. Now, what this sets up is that long-awaited all-Japanese showdown. I believe it's set up for May in Japan against former Bantamweight title holder, unified title holder, Junto Nakatani. But here's the key part from Saturday, Luke. Nakatani came in there as a pretty big favorite against the opponent's name. What was it, Hernandez?
Hernandez.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess that up in real time. And this turned out to be not only a true fight of the year contender, but an absolute high-paced war in which Nakatani took a very difficult test for his first fight at 122 and nearly seemed like he was on the verge of losing the Chocolatito fight. In the end, 2 judges had it 115, 113 in favor of Nakatani, which I thought was the correct score. 1 judge had a 118, 110 and some Adelaide Bird type scorecard that made no sense. But how impressed were you at the opponent here coming in from Mexico? Not a big name. In fact, I missed it in real time, forgetting it here. And he came out and nearly upset one of the top 10 best fighters in the world.
Yeah, this one, I mean, I'm just not going to sit here and pretend I knew who this guy was before the fight. I didn't have any great idea. I knew about Nakatani. We've talked about him on the show previously. And of course, as you indicated, the all-Japanese showdown is the one that's kind of been wished for, forecasted, you name it, kind of discussed out there and now being planned to an extent. So I just thought he was going to walk over him, to be honest with you. I didn't think much of it. And then it wasn't that way at all. And dude, honestly, here's my view. You tell me if you agree. 7-5 Nakatani, I'm okay with. I think it's okay. But I don't know if that's the best scorecard.
Okay.
I really don't know that. I don't know if that's the best one you can argue. Dude, Hernandez.
Sorry,
I know who he is now. Right, put it that way.
It's Sebastian Hernandez, 25 years old, fights out of San Diego for Mexico. Go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly. You can give that fight to Hernandez. Like, that was a fight that you can argue, I think he won at a bare minimum. A draw seems maybe the more equitable solution to this. Nakatani had to battle back in parts. I thought some of his body punching in parts was pretty good. He had to bite down on the mouthpiece, but dude, Hernandez was all over him for long stretches of that fight. I hope at a bare minimum he gets another big fight off of this, because he came to win that day.
Yeah, he will definitely get a big fight off of this. 20-0 coming into this fight, hadn't beaten a ton of major names, but was considered on paper a tough challenge. In fact, they said on the broadcast that some members of Nakatani's team were hesitant about making his debut in this division against such a tough opponent. And oh my God, was his gas tank on point. He was in Nakatani's chest for all 12 rounds, pushing the pace, and his chin. I mean, Nakatani's known as a big time puncher. His chin of Hernandez was right there. Mike Coppinger scored at 114, 114 on the broadcast. So in some ways it slows down the rising momentum of Nakatani. It doesn't take away from the need to make the Inoue fight, but it certainly asks some questions about whether this was just an over-the-top best performance ever from Hernandez, or whether Nakatani at 122 has found ultimately some limitations. By the way, we can be critical of announcers at times. I thought the trio of Corey Erdman, Darren Barker, and Mike Coppinger on Saturday was very good. Very good. Good chemistry, played off each other well. Darren Barker, an excellent analyst, a classy fighter in his own right. So shout out to Ring for having a strong team there.
You've worked with Corey Erdman in the past. You did the Dublin show with him, right?
Yes, Callum Wall show. Yep.
Dude,
Absolutely.
he's excellent at what he does. He's one of the better, I think. Obviously a great play-by-play guy and commentary, but what I mean is like he I don't ever question whether he's done his homework, right? It seems to me
he's a super fan, just a
exactly.
historical super fan. And I thought Cop had his best show ever. So shout out to that trio right there. It went down Saturday in Saudi Arabia. We do have the big fight now for May. Turkey says he's going to be there. I don't think it's a DAZN Riyadh season card. I think it's Japan based, but we'll see if it gets picked up on American TV in some form.
Dude, if they put that fight anywhere but Japan, that's a crime.
Oh yeah, I want the Tokyo Dome. I don't know what arena they pick, but it's got to be the Tokyo Dome. This is the biggest fight, it seems, in that country's history, right?
What's the last time there was a big Japanese fight, Japanese versus Japanese guy, that you can recall in boxing?
Can't recall. And these two
not,
are
not ever.
I can't recall. I mean, look, I've watched the lower weight classes. There's always Japanese stars in those. I can't off the top of my head name where you had two unbeaten decorated champions, both in the top 10 pound for pound, which both are, at least in my top 10 for CBS Sports, facing one another. On paper, this is going to be one of the toughest fights of Inoue's entire career. So this is big stuff, real big stuff. So happy, excited.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, the weekend is behind us. It's hot as balls in this office. Let me turn down the heat. Let's get into it. We're going to look back at what we got right and wrong and our predictions for MMA for 2025 and look ahead, of course, on how we see the future in our crystal ball. We're going to go division by division, and we start at 125 pounds in the UFC men's flyweight. Our predictions last year on who would end 2025 as champion go like this. Luke Thomas predicted Alexandre Pantoja. Long Island Luke did the same. BC picked that Kai Kara France would become the champion at some point. Also bad. But as we look ahead for 2026, LT, who's going to close next year as champion at flyweight?
You have to forgive me. I had to close out the link because my computer was stuttering for a second. Can you just circle right back to me?
Yeah, Long Island Luke, let's go to you off the top here. Who's going to close this coming year as champion at flyweight?
I got Alexandre Pantoja reclaiming the title, and I don't think it happens early on in the year. I think it probably happens in Q4, maybe November, December. My camera's acting up, man. My computer's being shitty right now. I see it on the front end. My camera's all fucked.
Yeah, we have a history in this show of tech differences.
Yeah, but it's happening to me now. Normally it happens to other Luke. But
listen, this is my Bane moment.
Yeah,
you merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it.
Your machine can only take so much weed smoke blown out.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I don't know. But Pantoja, I think he reclaims the title late. I think the title probably changes hands a few times. It's a weird year for that division.
That feels like a reach given his age, the severity of his injury, and the fact that the rest of the division is caught up. But I like it. Though. All right. I'm going to go with 35-year-old Kyoji Horiguchi. He's here to win, and you look back at his recent run across Ryzen, after his exit following the loss to Demetrius Johnson when he fought for the UFC flyweight title back in the day, a decade ago. He has been, when in this division, lights out, the best in the world. I think the floor is open for him experience-wise, complete, well-rounded game-wise. I think Horiguchi exits this year as champion. LT, where are you going?
I'm going to go Josh Van. And it kind of, I don't know how to give this without sort of giving away my prediction for the year as well for the men's flyweight division, which is quite simply, we talked about it before, like, can you lose in a year and be fighter of the year? And there's certainly a debate on that. It's the times that it's happened in the past before 2025 was like Robbie Lawler losing early to Johnny Hendricks and then having an amazing year, storming back and then winning both the title and then beating Hendricks in the end. I think you're going to get something similar out of Josh Van, dude. I don't think he's going to press the brakes here really at all. In fact, I think he's going to try and keep going in this way. And listen, his style's a little reckless. He's going to lose sometimes, I think, as a consequence, but I think his talent is going to shine through in the end. So there might be another champion BC in 2025, but I think Van's going to circle right back to it and maybe pick it up before the year is out.
Interesting prediction right there. By the way, ESPN.com just named Merab Dvalishvili their fighter of the year, despite having that loss in the 4 fights that he appeared in. In terms of breakthrough fighter of the year, I'm going with Amir Albazi in this division. Long Island Luke going with Kai Asakura. Luke, you wrote down Shavkat Rakhmonov.
What did I? Wrong one?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Wait,
120.
men's flyweight?
Yeah, maybe he's fasting to get there to cut down.
Oh,
All right.
no.
All right.
What the hell? That's in the wrong section.
But in terms of my prediction for the division this year, I actually think Manel Kape's going to defeat Josh Van in the first title fight in this division of 2026. I think it's going to be Kape who loses it to Horiguchi. Remember, they fought back in 2017 in Rizin. Horiguchi submitted Kape. I think he gets it done again. That's my bold prediction for the year. LT, or you shared yours. Long Island Luke, what do you got for bold prediction for this division?
I think a Brandon will fight for a title, whether it's Royval, whether it's Moreno. One of them is going to bounce back, and the champion at the time isn't going to be Pantoja because he's coming back from that injury. So whoever it is, they maybe have.
You're going all old guys across.
I'm going for something random here. That's
like Jordan Hudson right there. You're just loving that old dick. All right, that's great. Here, let's go to the men's bantamweight.
Can I ask what that means? I don't know what that means.
Bill Belichick's girlfriend / 401k stealer. Yeah, sorry. All right, there you go.
I didn't even know her name. I just knew that Belichick had like a 22-year-old girlfriend or whatever it was.
Yeah, you know who's in a feud with her right now is our boy
Pablo Torre.
Pablo Torre, yes.
Yeah,
all right, let's go to men's bantamweight. Our predictions at the end of 2024, BC picked that Umar Nurmagomedov would not only win the bantamweight title, he would become the fighter of the year. LT picked that Umar would become champion. Long Island Luke said Merab will remain champ. Wait, in fact, let's hear what he had to say. We got a video here. This is the only guy.
My bold prediction: Merab remains champ. Not only that, defends the belt 3 times in 2025.
You're out of your fucking mind.
He said he wants to fight like 4 or 5 times.
He said 3 times in like 3 months. That's not happening. But let's be
that's
real.
definitely not happening.
We got Umar in January. Let's say he wins that. Then over the summer he gets someone, and then Q4. It's totally possible. All right, he's going to beat Jan. He's going to beat O'Malley. He's going to beat Umar. Let's go. Done.
Well, he already beat Jan, and thoroughly at that. And he beat O'Malley, I would say mostly thoroughly at that one. But I think Umar's got his number. We'll see. Wow.
Island, you wow.
Listen, how about that bold confidence?
I'll take my bow.
That will never happen.
I mean, you got the Jan part wrong, but that's pretty ballsy, man. You nailed it. Shout out across the board right there. LT and I coming up empty on Umar. But yet, as we look ahead to who will be champion at the end of 2026, both LT and BC have it the same. Umar Nurmagomedov. Luke, I still believe. Still believe.
I just can't quit you, Umar. I just can't quit you. Now, but that being said, BC, I'm expecting some bangers. I'm expecting some tough-ass fights. I'm expecting some nail-biting rounds. You know, these guys are good, but fucking Umar, man, I just feel like it's wrong to think that, like, oh, he'll never touch UFC gold. Really?
No. He's one of the 10 best fighters in the world right now, in my opinion. Fight me on it. Long Island Luke, you went a different way for 26, and you're on a roll in this division. What's your prediction?
I mean, like my 2025 prediction, Merab retains the title, gets it back, baby.
You know what?
Let's go.
You know what? After my asshole the denial of your very correct prediction, this time I'm going to say, you know what? I believe in you, Long Island Luke. You're right.
This is going to age perfectly next year when he's nowhere close to a title shot.
Breakthrough fighter of the year in this division, the predictions. Long Island Luke going Felipe Lima. Shout out to that. I went to high school with Felipe Lima. We called him Phil, though. Shout out to that guy.
He's going to break through into the UFC this year. Let's go. You're
LT, you and I both went Peyton Talbot. So what are you expecting here? Like a 2-0 year to put himself in true title contention?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's in a way you could maybe argue he kind of already broke through a little bit because he certainly got the bad taste out of everyone's mouth on the Barcelos fight. And then, you know, best win of his career, styled on Henry Cejudo. I mean, it was a great night for him. So in some ways, that was a bit of a breakout performance, but I think he's going to build on that. I mean, the thing that I think everyone saw this year, it's pretty fair to say, started out a little bit rocky with that Barcelos fight, looked much better against Lima, and then really just put it on Henry Cejudo. And yeah, everyone's going to say Cejudo's old and blah, blah, blah. This is how the fight game works. You get some of these old guy names, and then eventually you have to turn that into names against other guys where you cannot make those same considerations about, right? Whether, you know, it's contemporaries in a sense. And that is obviously where the rubber meets the road, BC. But honestly, the level, the speed at which he's getting better, I think is what everybody has noticed. You're like, okay, if you're getting better, like you're filling in these areas of need very quickly. What does that mean as you're still in your 20s, like, you know, peak performance years in 2026? It portends good things to me, it seems.
Yeah, Luke predicting he's going deeper into that ocean. We'll see if it happens right here. Luke, let's stay with you. What's your bold prediction for bantamweight for the new year?
All right, bold prediction for bantamweight for the year. Hold on, let me pull up my goddamn notes. Hold on, I got it here. One second.
I don't know what God has to do against this. I mean, to be fair.
Even though BC, and let me tell you why I'm saying this. It's only because MMA is cruel and unpredictable and strange, which is part of the reason why we like it, but also part of the reason why it breaks our hearts. Namely, Piotr Jan just had the performance of a lifetime against Merab. Even Merab Ballwasher, Long Island Luke would certainly agree to that. just unnecessary shots. But in all seriousness, it was incredible, and he not only leveled up as a rematch fight, a revenge fight, but just overall in his career. But I've just seen MMA go so many different ways where you'll see a guy like this, and it's unfathomable that they could even lose again, and then they lose in the next fight. I think Jan's going to lose his first title defense. BC, maybe that's unfair, maybe that's crazy, maybe that's probably stupid. This is a fun little show for nothing, but. I don't know, man. The minute you think you're on top, the instant you think I've got this thing firmly established, something just happens and it just takes it all away.
Will it be a trilogy against Merab or the Umar fight that almost happened earlier this year?
I feel like it. I feel like it. I don't want to discount Merab, but I think Merab's got some work to do. I feel like Umar and the problem that Umar's got is he's gonna have a hard time hurting Jan, and the other part he's gonna have a problem with is maintaining control positions because Jan is extremely squirmy. So I think it's an uphill battle, or I should say it's a difficult battle, but I do think his ability to get the positions like the back, like what you saw Aljo get, I think Umar might be able to repeat some of that stuff.
All right. My bold prediction for Bantamweight for 26 is that former champion Sean O'Malley will suffer his third straight defeat. He's going to drop a decision to Song Yadong at UFC 324 and then immediately announce that he's moving up to featherweight. Long Island Luke, where are you going this direction here?
I'm going that the title changes hands more than once, and I think I'm kind of on the same wavelength of Luke, where I think that Piotr Jan loses his belt. I'm thinking to Umar, though, in the first fight, and then I think they do the Merab rematch. Merab gets it back by the end of the year, and that's why Merab's champ at the end of the year.
Wow, a lot of belt juggling over there in the Nocita household. Let's go to featherweight and look back on what we saw. We have a video from LT's prediction.
Well, I don't know if I'm looking forward to what I'm about to say, but I do think it's headed our way, and we should kind of get ready for it. I think that Volkanovski is going to try to recapture the title, and I think the UFC will probably award him something. Now, let me be clear about this. What I'm about to say does not count if what we're talking about is interim title fights. I haven't quite thought that through, but what I will say is he's probably going to try to recapture the full-on weight class title, and will fail. He will not get it. And I don't know what that will do for the remainder of his career, whether he will choose to keep fighting, move up, take super fights, whatever. I don't know. But I think that my prediction for featherweight 2024 is Volk's going to try and recapture that title, and it's not going to work. And then we have to kind of deal with the fallout from there. Damn,
not only did you get the year wrong, you got the pick wrong right there. Yeah. There you go. All right. I had two.
Well, you know what? We'll see. I mean, so here's what I would say, BC. What if he loses in the rematch? The spirit of what I was after would be. Here's the problem, dude. I mean, it means a terrible prediction.
Here's the problem. Nobody knows. You can't see the future. Nobody actually knows.
Well, that is also quite true, but more to the point, he was coming off those terrible knockout losses, and I thought, oh, that egg might have been cracked. But credits to Volk, man. He's fucking different.
Yeah, I had two predictions for featherweight for the new year. Both did not come true. Pitbull Frietti, Patricio would come to the UFC and make his debut in a title fight. That did not happen. And Arnold Allen will go 2-0 and be on his way to a title shot exiting 2025. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Almighty. We need you back. I know he's got a big fight coming up. Long Island Luke predicted that Ilya Topuria will move up. Volk will reclaim the title against Diego Lopez. Both came true. LIL. Let's go.
Killing it.
Have known. I'm thinking back to this. We must have known that Volk versus Diego was at least rumored or something, because that fight was in April. This was December. Like, I think back. I like all year I didn't remember calling that. I feel like we must have known that fight was booked, so it wasn't that crazy. But take my flowers either way.
Well, as we predict who will be champion at featherweight to end 2026, it's unanimous across the board. All three of us got it the same. LT, who's it going to be?
It was a clean sweep here at MK. We kind of feel like Movsar Evloev might be the guy. Now, obviously, BC, we don't even know if he's going to get a title shot, and we don't even know if he's even. I mean, he was a non-factor in 2025. That's just a reality, you know. So he's been this guy and hanging over the division, and without really materializing into anything that we thought could, match his potential. But BC maybe this year feels a little bit different. Like there's some openings potentially if he can get back in there and do what he does best. He seems like a formidable guy to root against,
Yeah, I mean, if we're mapping it out, he'd have to take on that fight in the second half of the year. I think that's very possible. And the only thing is, though, let's be fair. UFC seems to be going against that direction. We've seen Islam Makhachev come out and complain about Rinat Fakhretdinov getting cut from the UFC.
You nailed it. That's exactly how you say it.
Or not re-signed after going 6-0-1, and basically Islam saying in an interview that if you're not exciting, if you don't talk on the microphone, if you're wrestling heavy, you're probably not who they're looking for. I would have to believe they want more American stars. They want to not just have all Dagestan dominant wrestlers, but I don't know if Evloev can ultimately be denied, and I'd like his chances against Lopez or Volk. So that's where I'm going that way. For Breakthrough Fighter of the Year, both LT and I went the way of Kevin Vallejos. Yes. He's the Argentine Ilya. Yes, he's a banger. LIL, you're going Nathaniel Wood, brother?
Yeah, Nathaniel Wood, who just beat Jose Delgado. That was a big upset. He's 6-1 in the UFC since moving up to featherweight. And he does get always goes decision, which is probably why they're not giving him big fights. But I feel like this is going to be the year he breaks into the top 15. So,
all right, fair enough. Let's go.
I'm done rooting against Long Island Luke's predictions. They're very good.
He's on fire. Let's go for our bold prediction. Let's go right to Nosita. What's your bold prediction at featherweight for the new year?
This was similar to my women's bantamweight last year when I said about Holly Holm. Josh Emmett will headline a UFC event in 2026. Okay, they milked this guy for all he's worth for the headliners. He has lost top of my head 3 in a row, maybe even
that ain't that bold, brother. That ain't that bold.
Yeah, but coming off 3-4 in a row, they should not give him a headliner. They're gonna. It's gonna be an
Sergey
Apex.
Spivak headlines every other Apex card.
He's a heavyweight, though.
Dude, David Onama headlined a card. I mean,
he was on a winning streak. It's way different. Josh Emmett hasn't won a fight in a while.
All right.
Yeah, but people like Josh Emmett. He's got big power.
You got to win to be able to use that power, all right?
That's true. My bold prediction for featherweight for the new year is Lerone Murphy coming off of that spinning knockout of Aaron Pico. I don't believe he actually fights for the title in 2026. Obviously, the fact that they went with Diego Lopez for the rematch with Volk says a lot about what the company thinks about both him and Movsar. I think Movsar would get the edge in getting the next title shot. And when you look around this division, I'm not sure Lerone Murphy, who looked great in that one fight. Look, he may be the next Leon Edwards. It may be feast or famine, right? 6'7". It may be a little bit of that. I don't think Murphy gets to the title fight in this year, even though he's on a hell of a run. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm not making a claim here about winning or losing. I'm making a claim about volume. And I think that you're going to get 2 more fights from Volk, and then I think he's going to call it a day. Now, this is not exactly, on the case of Long Island Luke, this is also not exactly a bold prediction because there's kind of been rumors about it. But what I'm thinking is he could win the first one, then lose the second one and go. He could lose 2 more and then say that's it. Or he could win 2. I feel like 2 kind of feels like the magic number of what's left. Now, of course, I thought he was going to lose to Diego Lopez, but he still might. Nevertheless, BC, I think he could go on a winning streak. He could go on a losing streak. Either way, I feel like he's got 2 more in him. And by the way, maybe one's at 55 again. I don't know. But it's 2 more in him, and then he's going to call it a day.
All right, let's move on to the always exciting lightweight division, where at the end of last year, your boy BC just coming out, shooting them in a barrel. Let's see my prediction. Look, my prediction for this division in 25 is Paddy Pimblett's going to have a year. I still don't know if he is truly of the ilk, and when he does finally get his opportunity, can he climb that mountain and become a champion? There's still too many questions, even though he's trending in a better direction of late. Don't forget his submission of the year contender against King Green. And if he's headed toward a Money Moicano test fight, I think it's still one that he can win. But what if he goes into the top 10 there over the second half of the year and scores a big win over a still highly ranked aging name in what we would look at as a big step up for him? Luke, my bold prediction is that Pimblett ends the year in the top 5 at 155. And really, we start setting up what's the site, what's the pay-per-view, what's the venue where he fights for a world title. And
Pretty close. Now, he got in there with some bullshit, which you have to admit. However, by hook or by crook, that one's pretty good.
I mean, that was ultimately the part of the fuel of the prediction, that it wouldn't be he would be earning it in our eyes of beating the top contenders, but they would give him an aging name. There's a lot of them. He got a Chandler who was on a losing skid and was, set up for him. But to his credit, he passed the test, and his marketability has him now in an interim title fight. And we don't even know if Ilya is going to defend that title again based on his current issues there in the family situation. So that was my prediction. I nailed it. Long Island Luke said at least 5 guys in the top 10 will no longer be there. Was that true, Long Island Luke?
See, I should have wrote down the top 10 at the time. I don't actually know if that's true. I did name 3 people when I said it, and I said Poirier, Hooker, Dariush. Hooker is still there. Dariush might be lingering near the top 10.
I don't think so.
Retired.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know if it came true, but I also feel like that's vague enough where that probably comes true in every division every year. So
yeah, I mean, but no, it was a good prediction because this division needs turnover. It kind of needs his aging names to go. Luke, you predicted that Ilia Topuria will get one big fight, win it, and be in conversation for a title in 26. Dude, you did not see this divorce coming at all, bro.
Nope. I mean, but I feel like I got most of that right. You know what I'm saying? He had the one big fight, and then he was in conversations for the Islam fight for most of the year.
Yeah, all right. You could play with that.
I mean, that one's pretty close.
That's pretty true. All right, as we look to be who will be the champion of this division at the end of the year, Luke Thomas, you sticking with Topuria or what?
I am sticking with Topuria. I very much struggled on this one because BC, here's the thing. There's a question of whether Tsarukyan will beat him or could beat him. But there's the bigger question, which is, of course, is that motherfucker even going to get a title shot? And I don't really answer to that because if Pimblett wins, or I mean, it doesn't even matter who wins at the next headlining event, right? So between Pimblett and Gaethje, they're going to get Topuria, you think, probably, right? Or I don't know how this is going to go. Are they going to move Topuria to 70 in some kind of crazy move? Or is he going to be back in time to take on Pimblett? I don't know, but I just kind of feel like when the dust settles, he's got to have at least one more in this weight class. And I think it's probably going to be Pimblett, and I think he probably wins that one. That's kind of how I feel.
That's the same prediction Long Island Luke gave, that Ilia Topuria would end the year as the lightweight champion. I'm going against that for a lot of the reasons that you said. There's already been some rumors, not substantiated, but rumors online that Ilia could vacate the title given what's going on in his personal life. I think the combination of that, we don't know how long he'll be out, mixed with the combination that we know his upward ambition that he wants to fight Islam at 170, whether that makes sense or not. I think that my prediction is wide open for this division. So when I look at the landscape, even though he was passed over, my prediction for champion is one Arman Tsarukyan, the Armenian Hulk. And I actually think that all of this stuff he's had to fight through, whether it's been partially self-induced or not, has only built up the time that he's working in the gym to well-round his game. And I think it's also making him angrier and meaner. When I look at that Paddy versus Gaethje interim title fight, I think Arman smokes either guy. So I think Tsarukyan ends this year as champion. And if he has to do it by going through Ilia, Luke, I'm starting to believe that that's not a 50-50 fight. Topuria is arguably the best fighter in the world, but I believe Tsarukyan can win that fight. I do.
I'll tell you this much. If there's anybody at 55 who's beaten Ilia, it's Arman Tsarukyan. Fact. And by the way, he's on a little bit of a Count of Monte Cristo tour. This weekend, he's out there in Russia, and it's a grappling match, but with Shara Bullet, who's a fucking middleweight. And by the way, I kind of like Tsarukyan's chances, if I'm being honest. So, listen, if there is any threat to Ilia, it's Arman Tsarukyan. I just don't know if he's even going to get a fucking opportunity.
But it's like maybe he gets one where Ilia's not mentally where he needs to be. I mean, sometimes divorces bring out the best in people's art, usually in songwriting, but I don't know if that's going to, mean it in this case. Well,
I'll say this, that first fight back, BC, let's just say for whatever reason it works out in this circumstance, where the first fight Ilia has back is Tsarukyan, I might pick Tsarukyan in that particular case. You know what I mean? Where all that seems to me like destined for problems for Ilya. But I guess we'll
I
see.
don't think he was ready when he pulled out of the Islam fight, like literally ready to take over. But I think it's built up a callus on him that's going to lead him to where he needs to be. Let's go breakthrough fighter of the year in this division. I'm going with Faris Ziam. Is that how you say it? The Frenchman who keeps sending people to hell with that Frivola head kick and continuing on. I think he's on a hot run where he is going to make some noise at the top end of this division. We need some breakthrough from some new fighters. So I'm going that direction. LT, where are you going?
For my selection, I went with Manuel Torres, who has not been without necessarily a bit of an issue, BC, at 55. He did lose to Ignacio Bahamondes via stoppage, by the way, at UFC 306. But if you look at his other fights, BC, Frank Camacho, Nicholas Mota, Duncan, and then this year in particular, Drew Dober and Grant Dawson, all of those are stoppages. All of those were performance of the night bonus winners. My man's got some skill. It's kind of like Josh Van, BC, where you can tell he's still green in certain areas and maybe a little bit too risk ready, but clearly has great athleticism, phenomenal footwork, good speed, a willingness to get in there, a natural finisher. BC, I got my eye on Manuel Torres. I think he might do something special this year.
It might not be a surprise to some here, but Long Island Luke's got his eyes on an Aussie man. Don't
Yeah,
you?
I do. Quillen Salkeld, man. 3-0 in the UFC. 2 like really nice knockouts. 1 over Nasrat Hack Press. I feel like a lot of people don't knock out Nasrat. And he got 9 takedowns in his Contender Series fight. Like people forget he's also got wrestling chops too. So I'm interested to see. I think he's ranked by the end of 2026.
I need Australia to send fighters that don't have strange names that are hard to remember how to spell. That's what I need from them.
All
Can they
right.
do
Oh,
that?
Robert Whitaker was too tough on you there?
No, see, Robert
Or,
Whitaker's a great example, but like Jack Della Maddalena, it's like how many L's, how many D's? It's it's not my favorite. It's not like Poland where it's basically just impossible, but
Yeah.
it's tough.
Oleg Shashuk. My bold prediction for lightweight for the new year is this. Benoit Saint Denis, I think he's turned it around. He's not without flaws, but the recklessness, some of the things that slipped him up in that losing skid, which began against Dustin Poirier, I think it's behind him. I say he goes 2-0 in 2026, and he enters 2027 as the number 1 contender for the title. LIL, or LT, excuse me, where are you going?
Well, I did. Oh, you mean for the bold prediction?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay, so for my bold prediction, I put Saryukian is going to get somehow a title shot and then lose to Ilya. Now, here's what I mean by that. I think Patty's probably going to beat Gaethje, so I think Patty's going to be the guy. But I feel like something's going to happen potentially before we get there. It's all very unpredictable, but it feels like BC. It's wrong to say that Topuria and Saryukian are on a collision course right now, especially because there's just other stuff happening. But I feel like people are going to realize, some already do, but it's going to be much more widely known that that's one of the best fights in MMA you can make. And there's going to be huge demand to make it. Maybe Patty gets injured. Maybe something happens. Who knows? But I feel like they're going to find a way to get it done. And I feel like Ilya's going to, reign triumphant.
I thought you just predicted that you'd favor Armin. I thought I heard that earlier.
Well, in the sense of if it's the first fight back and he's out a long while, maybe so. If he comes back more quickly, maybe less so. I feel like if he's out let's say, when was his fight against Charles? Like March, April, something like that? No, July.
International Fight Week, end of
June or July.
June
if he's out a
29th.
full year or more from that, or even 18 months, then I would be concerned. But if he comes back relatively quickly, then I'm still going to pick Ilya.
All right, Long Island Luke, where are you going? Something bold here or what?
Yeah, I'm going bold because if you remember, I said end of year champion will be Ilya Topuria, but my bold prediction is he doesn't even fight in the year 2026.
Wow.
He's going through personal issues the whole year. UFC likes him enough. They keep the interim title, maybe even let them defend the interim title, but Ilya is undisputed at the end of the year.
So you're predicting that Ilya has 100 problems and a
No.
Hey.
No. Let's go to welterweight, where last year BC predicted that Islam Makhachev would move up to 170 and become a double champ. Yeah, there you go.
Well
It's that
done.
easy,
Well done.
folks. Okay, it's that easy. LT, you said Shavkat Rakhmonov would defeat Bilal and become champ. I believed that too myself. It didn't happen.
I mean, I'll say this. If Shavkat had fought him, I would still pick Shavkat to become champ, but It didn't work out that way, did it?
Long Island Luke, you got, I don't know where you were going with this. Bilal Muhammad would exit the year as welterweight champion. What's going on?
Yeah, what the fuck?
I mean, come on, don't even explain.
Worst take of the year.
Yeah, worst take of the year.
You had simultaneously the very best prediction and the worst.
In terms of who ends this year as lightweight or welterweight champion, it's a sweep. All three of us going Islam Makhachev. Luke, it seems like there aren't a lot of people we believe who could handle Islam's wrestling and well-rounded game at this weight class. Shavkat's certainly one of them, but you think he's going to run the table ultimately?
I think Shavkat, I think they're going to make him fight at least one more guy. Maybe two. I don't think so, but I feel like there's already kind of he can win a fight, BC, to like make himself eligible to be #1 contender, but there's just a lot of movement or past him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of other names that are already being circulated ahead of him. And I think
you got Gary, you got Morales, you could have Ilya. Like there's a lot going on in this division.
There's a lot going on.
Pratesh.
And who knows how many times Islam even fights this year as he ages out, especially if he fights on, you know, I don't know, on the White House card, or who knows, maybe he just decides, I don't want to keep doing this for a whole lot longer. But dude, he looked incredible against Jack Della Maddalena. And I know everyone thought that Jack kind of shit the bed on that one. And yeah, he didn't have his best night, that's for sure. But you know, that was a very, very good win against a very, very credentialed opponent. So I'm a big believer in him at 70 at this point, you know?
All right, but Luke, for Breakthrough Fighter of the Year, you picked Michael Morales when I think he already broke through. He knocked out the #1 contender, Sean Brady.
So just like the case of Peyton beating Henry, now that one's different, but what I'm saying is it kind of served the same purpose in terms of being a breakout performance, no question about it. But that one is actually better in my mind, BC, because Brady is also a youngish top contender. So that one's actually for Morales even better. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't know how fast they're going to roll him out. It kind of to face Islam. I mean, I think that they want to keep him at least one more, and I feel like potentially even two, BC, because there are just lots of developmental reasons. But the point I'm trying to make is I think he's going to have some other big wins here this year that have nothing to do with Islam Makhachev, and perhaps even more than one.
All right, my breakthrough fighter at welterweight is going to be Yaroslav Amosov, and I think he's going to have an RDR type run of quick activity, going to score some big wins, going to show you the combination of the stamina, hunger, and submission game, and probably exits the year putting himself in true title contention. Long Island Luke, who's breaking through here?
I took Miktabek Oralbai. He's 4-1 in the UFC, 2-0 at welterweight. He's coming off that hellacious knockout over Jack Hermanson. I feel like they're going to give him a big name. He's also all action, like a lot of fun, and he's got a law degree, like Jed Mishu chose combat sports instead. So.
They're both using it right now. I think he's a little too wild to end up there, but we'll see what happens. That was a great knockout of the veteran Jack. Let's go to a bold ass prediction. I'm going to start it because this is it. This is what's going to happen. Islam Makhachev will fight 3 times this year, the first time since 2021, and his wins will end up being Kamaru Usman, Ian Machado Gary, and Shavkat Rakhmonov to win back-to-back fighter of the year.
Well, if he did that, he definitely would be. I don't know if I have him fighting 3 times, BC, but my prediction is pretty close to yours. Yours is bolder. I agree, it is certainly bolder. But I think basically he's going to sneak 2 of them in there. Now, I definitely think Kamaru is going to be one of them. So, you know, fucking kill me. But nevertheless, here's my prediction, though, BC. I don't think he's going to, by the time Morales is ready, I think Islam is going to out the door. I think that's what I think. Because I think if they fought now, I'm picking Islam. I think Islam's level of ability is just too high for a guy like that. But a guy like that with those kinds of physical tools who can still cut weight down to this, but he can really get everything dialed in. I don't know if anybody can beat a guy like that. So whether he'll get there, BC, this is what I'm trying to say about this year. I think he's going to show us he can, but he's got to do it first.
Islam told me during fight week in November that he could fight a lot more at this weight class. I know Ramadan comes into play, but we'll see what happens. Long Island Luke, bold prediction. Bilal Muhammad becomes champion again?
No, I had to do the exact opposite this time. So I did Bilal Muhammad goes winless in 2026.
Okay,
I don't know how many times he fights, but he does not win one of them. All right.
I could buy that. Unfortunately, I like Bilal, but I could buy that.
I like Bilal too, but that's just how this game goes. It's like, oh, you're champion, then you lose the belt. It's like Leon Edwards, right? Just lose. It's just how this game fucking goes, man.
All right, let's go to the middleweight division, which is kind of becoming the new light heavyweight, meaning that we're kind of void of big things going on. We do have a big champion right now. We'll get to that in a second. My prediction on who would end this year as middleweight champion. I'm sorry, my bold prediction from last year. Do I have this right? Yeah. Was that Bo Nickel?
Oh, you nailed it.
Would suffer his first pro defeat. I don't even think that was that bold, but it did happen. Remember, he was coming off that Paul Craig fight where it was just weird. He didn't shoot for takedowns. He didn't seem to understand why he didn't fight great. Long Island Luke predicted that the title will change hands more than once. That did not happen. And LT, you predicted that Israel Adesanya will retire. While that didn't happen, it feels like he's close. He's close, right?
It did not happen, so that one's wrong. Although he did an interview with Bang Tao out in Thailand, and where he said, he doesn't even care about the title anymore. He just wants some fun fights. So he's still got a little life left in him. I buried him too soon, but even by his own admission, he's out of the championship picture.
Here's what's interesting: all three of us are picking that the champion at middleweight to close the year will be meet the new boss, same as the old boss, Khamzat Chimaev. And I say that's interesting because he's never active. He's always talking about moving up to light heavyweight. We all still think he's going to run the table. I think some of that is this division's not that deep. Luke, how many times does Chimaev fight then?
Well, you kind of got me to my bold prediction here.
Go for it.
My bold prediction is he fights once, definitely, and I think he wins. And so I think he ends the year's champion, which is what we put down. However, I think he's going to have another issue where he might be out after the win, and the UFC is going to create an interim middleweight title for whoever comes up next because he cannot be active as a consequence. That's what I think.
All right. Reggie, get down. Reggie, this dude's driving me nuts this winter break. All right. Let's go to...
Don't you dare disrespect Mr. October.
Yes, thank you. Breakthrough Fighter of the Year at middleweight. The two of you, Lukes, let's go to Nosita here, have the same pick. Why are you going Ateba Gautier?
I mean, he's 23 years old, 3-0 in the UFC, all first round knockouts. He seems like he's super likable too, BC. I was telling LT off camera that in the Embedded last time, they brought him to like a cat cafe and he was just like surrounded by kittens having the time of his life. I mean, I'm just rooting for the guy. I think they want to root for him too. So I think he's going to get favorable matchups, and middleweight, not that deep. He could crack the top 15.
So it's the lack of depth that makes me pick Joe Pyfer as my breakthrough fighter. I don't love his comments about Mexico. I don't think he's completely well-rounded and a true title contender, but I think he's going to get close this year. Division not deep. I think he's got big power. He's going to figure out how to iron it out. So that's the direction I'm going. Luke already gave his bold prediction for middleweight. Mine is this: Adesanya Whitaker 3 will happen this year, but it won't be at middleweight. It'll be at 205. Luke, you retweeted it. Whitaker's talking about going to light heavyweight. Are we going to see him fight John Jones or what?
Whitaker Jones becomes more plausible by the day, bitches. By the day.
Well, Luke, give me something bold here as I let Reggie out.
My bold prediction for middleweight is that it was the same as Luke's pretty much. Chimaev doesn't fight until October. So yes, only once this year, but I know he was fought in Chicago, but I still weirdly feel like there's always like lingering visa issues with him, and I could see them just holding out for a card, pay-per-view, numbered event, whatever you want to call it. So he doesn't fight till October, remains the champ, continues his trend of fighting once a year. I think it's been like 3-4 straight years of just once a year.
Yeah, he loves doing that. We really need him to be active and to dominate this division. Let's go to light heavyweight, which hasn't been the deepest, hasn't been great. My bold prediction last year was that the Poatan Adesanya trilogy would take place at 205. There wasn't a need to it. LT, you predicted that Poatan would vacate, move to heavyweight, and fight either John Jones or Aspinall. I think you were just a year off. Yeah.
It seems like it's going to happen, but I was too soon for the truth, BC.
There you go. LIL did not produce a prediction according to our records. Is that true?
I think we were just running out of time, and you guys kind of just moved past
that. Happens, yeah. All right, let's go to who will be the champion to end this year. Luke Thomas, who you got?
To be the champion at the end of this year, BC, I feel like it's going to be the guy, as you indicated, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I think it's going to be Magomed Ankalaev. Obviously, he got run over in that fight with Poatan, but I feel like Poatan won. I mean, if my prediction was wrong last year, I do feel like it's going to be right this year. Like, Poatan does seem like he's going to try and move up and BC try and get that third UFC title, which would be insane and amazing in the whole 9 yards. In any case, BC, for that reason, I still think Ankalaev's the most well-rounded guy. And when I say well-rounded, I don't just mean offensive tools. I mean like defensive responsibility as well. And so for that reason, I kind of feel like he might, in the absence of John Jones, Cormier was clearly the guy. It kind of feels a little bit like that to me. I guess we'll see.
Long Island Luke went the same direction of you. Big Onk will regain the title. My prediction's different, and it ties into my bold prediction, and it goes like this. I think Pereira will vacate the title, and I think the vacant title bout will be Ankalaev versus Yuri Prochazka. Only I think the Big Onk will be the big donk and lose the title via complete donkery as Yuri lures him into one of those sloppy-ass fights and finishes him with something spectacular. I think Prochazka gets back to the top of the ladder in this division. He doesn't cut to middleweight. He's got a new baby. He's ready to go. He's cutting balloons with swords. I'm going with Yuri right there.
Let's go for this. Let's go for
breakthrough fighter of the year. Who do you got, LT?
Well, this one was really hard, and I don't even know what to fucking say about it because this division sucks right now. But the guy who really impressed me at the end of last year, again, he got a bit of a Peyton Talbot situation, but I really think he's going to have a big year this coming year, is Azamat Murzakanov. He is, it seems like, undersized for light heavyweight, but his hand speed and his boxing and his accuracy, they're a fucking problem. And he's reasonably well-rounded where he needs to be. He's not the perfect fighter, BC, and I don't know if he ever wears a belt. I don't know if I kind of see him in that regard. But I think you got a bunch of big donks in this weight class, and they don't move their head. They're not defensively responsible. And dude, this guy steals on them constantly. I kind of feel like he might be able to take that pretty far.
I wonder if Jamal Hill has a better chance at regaining the title or scoring Johanna after what happened. I don't know. My breakthrough fight of the year, I got to go Lithuania here. Modestas Bukauskas is on one of those runs. The division lacks depth. I think he can creep up here with a 2-0 year. Long Island, look, which direction are you going on breakthrough? And then give us your bold prediction.
I'm going with Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. I was joking with Luke before. I was like, I don't even remember anything about this guy. So I had to quickly look into him. He's 24 years old, 8-0, 7 finishes. Looked like nasty. A killer. Yeah, dude. Both his UFC debut and his Contender Series fight ended in 30 seconds, but he's also gone 5 rounds before. So, like, he seems like the goods. I'm excited to see him. Bold prediction, maybe not that bold, but he is coming off like 4 losses. Jan Blachowicz is going to win a fight this year, all right? They're going to give him at least one more fight, and he's going to win the damn thing.
Dude, just move up to heavyweight already, please, Jan, okay?
Regardless, he's going to win a fight. Let's go, Jan.
All right, I already gave my bold one. Luke, what do you got for Poatan in this coming year?
All right, well, got to play the hits, BC. That's the only game I know how to play. So I think Poatan moves to freaking heavyweight. My only boldest prediction is that it's permanent. Like there's no going. He doesn't go 205 heavyweight. It's just he's going to finish out at heavyweight, and then it's just going to be that, and that's the end of it.
I think that's dead on. I think you're going to win with that. Let's go to the unpredictable heavyweight division, where last year Luke Thomas predicted, with or without a John Jones fight, Tom Aspinall will end the year as champion. You never predicted he would go blind, but well done, Luke.
Didn't get the vision part right, but I got the rest of it. So I just felt like, and you know what? He kind of skated at the end there a little bit, if we're being honest. But again, by hook or by crook, it came true.
I predicted that Francis Ngannou would fight Vadim Nemkov in the PFL. That did not happen, but it
might. Yeah,
yeah. We'll see. Long Island Luke said we'll get Aspinall Jones at some point. We should have, but it didn't happen here. Let's go to Heavyweight predictions for the new champion. Long Island Luke, you're going Tom Aspinall. You believe he's going to end the year, but how many times does he fight?
Once, maybe twice. Like I'm thinking, summer we get the Gone rematch, and then maybe once more towards the end of the year. But your guys' prediction, I feel like, will not be in the title conversation by that second title defense.
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. By the way, Aspinall just said he had surgery on one eye and he's going to have surgery on the other. I don't know how long he'll be out because of that. Luke Thomas, you and I both have the same pick, and it's a bold ass one. Who's closing the year as heavyweight champion?
All right, this is where we go bold. I think Gable Steveson might be your champion by the end of the year, to be honest with you. I realize he's a controversial figure for a couple of reasons. Charges related to alleged sexual assault in college, among other things. However, if you just look at now looking at his athletic life, BC, he just seems like a much better athlete than basically everybody. He is an Olympic champion, an NCAA champion in wrestling. He is fast. You saw what he's already done in the LFA. Like, I don't know that it's true. I mean, could he win the title now? Maybe that's a little early, but by the last quarter of the year, I don't know that it will be. I think he's going to steamroll these people.
Dude, heavyweight's the only division left where you can kind of come in with one dominant skill and potentially not get exposed. I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but we saw Brock Lesnar do that. He's got some Lesnar-esque qualities to him. You're right about the athleticism. You're right about the wrestling. What we don't know about his chin, stamina, and striking ability, we may not have to find out. This division's all over the place. Could he beat Poatan? Maybe. Could he beat Aspinall? Like, if he wrestles him, maybe. Like, it's possible. I think he's going to get a massive push that begins with the White House. So I don't think it's improbable, or like, let's say he goes to the White House and fights a legitimate fighter in his debut, like when they brought in Brock and made him fight Frank Mir. And let's say he wins. You're telling me he doesn't headline MSG for the heavyweight title? Like, it's very, very possible, because the UFC wants and needs dominant American champions, people to market. This is the guy. He's not going to fight John Jones, who is his mentor. Luke, you put Gable Stevenson as your breakthrough fighter at heavyweight. I'm going Walter Walker, who is, on a nice run of foot submissions right here and is breaking through. Long Island Luke, Mario Pinto can bang. You're a big believer here?
I mean, yeah, he's undefeated, 11-0, 2-0 in the UFC. Just beat Jonata Denise, which is like actually a really good win. And he also has gone 5 rounds before, and he's still pretty young. I mean, yeah, heavyweight sucks too. Let's just be real.
All right,
it's very easy to make a very big, quick splash at heavyweight.
My bold prediction at heavyweight is that John Jones will suffer a training injury and never fight again, and it will coincide with the rise of Gable Stevenson. John will become the head coach. He will use this to build up his legacy as not just the greatest fighter of all time, but look, my first guy I coached, I took to the top. That's my bold prediction. LT, where are you going here?
Just that I don't know who the dance partner is going to be, and I know that there were rumors, or at least an Instagram post where it suggested it wasn't going to happen. But, these guys play games on social media. Poatan versus some other heavyweight, and I don't know who that's going to be. It's going to headline the White House card. I think that's going to be your big one at heavyweight, obviously, not 205. I think that's going to be your leading fight on that card.
What could throw a wrinkle in our Gable champion plans are, let's say Aspinall's not ready for the White House, so they throw Gane in there. Poatan beats Gane, maybe, or either way, the winner's got to fight Aspinall, right? If he's ready. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Long Island Luke believes that Rug Umar Khan will come to the UFC. I like that prediction, Long Island.
Thank you. I kind of forgot all about Gable Stevenson, and I was just trying to think of who's a big heavyweight splash they could sign, and that was what I came up with.
All right, let's go.
That's how sad it is. It's like if you don't consider Gable Stevenson, it's like, you're not too far from, you guys won't even know this name, but Zulu Zinho. I mean, it's just it's slim pickings out there.
Shout out to Alexander Volkov. He's still in the mix. You never know what's going to happen right there. I mean, Cyril Gane could be the next champion for all we know. That's where it's at.
True.
Hey, let's go to the women now. The 115, the strawweights, a division that has seen better times, but now sees Mackenzie Dern as the champion. And my bold prediction entering this year was that Mackenzie Dern will go 1-1 and continue to tread water in the division. That's an error, but nobody, I guess, knew that Weili would move up and open this opportunity. Nocita did not make a prediction. LT, you said Tatiana Suarez will win the title, but won't be able to defend it due to loss. Yeah, that's
it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be.
As we look at who ends the year at champion, I can never remember a time that this great division was this poor. All three of us believe that Zhang Weili, after getting completely shut out by Valentina, will come back down, regain the title at 115. It seems like the right play for her in every possible way, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, and also just, when I was looking at the list, I'm like, okay, well, if she comes back, who's like the biggest threat? And I don't even know how to answer that. You know what I mean? So
it's like
why
you might say
she?
Tatiana, but Weili destroyed her in their fight.
Exactly. So it's like, who would that even be? So yeah, I just would be shocked if she's not champion of the year.
All right, breakthrough fighter of the year at women's strawweight. Long Island Luke going Jillian Robertson, and I got to give her credit. She's really put on a nice little run right here.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, the names that we got on this, sorry, Long Island Luke, it's basically me and your choice, BC, or his. I don't even know who else it would be in this division.
I was going to say, I think every other weight class, I picked someone not ranked. This was like so hard, so I picked someone who's already ranked. But I think Jillian will either be at a title shot or have already gotten one by the end of the year next year.
And LT and I both picked Fatima Klein as our breakthrough fighter. She's coming on. Very good, well-rounded game there. This division not deep. We'll see what happens. Bold prediction time, LT. What's happening in the 115?
At the 115, Weili is going to recapture the title, BC, but it's going to be more problems because she's only going to fight one time next year. And I don't know how much people will care in the sense that this is not the most loaded division and the movement doesn't really matter. But, you know, Zhang Weili has just not been very active for quite some time now. And I expect more of that in this year, not less.
All right. Long Island Luke predicting that Zhang Weili will not get the first title shot at Mackenzie Dern. So you think they'll put Dern in a position to use her marketability to sell another fight?
Exactly. They'll get her. I don't want to say, we'll say a winnable fight so she could arguably get a title defense. And then you do the Weili fight. You give Weili some time off.
They're like, here's a Hebos trilogy for you. Go for it. My bold prediction, you know, I can't make one and not involve Rose Namajunas. She will decide to cut down to 115 for one final time after Weili wins the title back. They'll have their trilogy to crown the greatest fighter in women's strawweight history. So we'll see if Rose can even physically do that. That's my bold ass prediction. Let's go to flyweight, the deepest women's division. Naoya did not make a prediction. LT, you predicted that Valentina will not be the champion at the end of the year.
Now, did I predict that she would lose or just that she would not be champion?
You just said not be. We've talked about the possibility of her going to 35 for years. Maybe that was part of it. I predicted she would close the year as champion, and that was true. Let's go to our championship predictions for the new year. I'm going to go Manon Fiorot. Her only loss there was to Valentina. She showed some great toughness to battle back in that one. She's 35, but she's on top of her game. We saw that in her bounce back fight. I think Fiorot, which is good. Look, it's going to play into my bold prediction, so I'll say it right now. I think Valentina will vacate the title, not defend it this year. She's going to move up and fight at 135 for the rest of her career, and this will open the door for Manon Fiorot to become champion. Luke, who ends this year as the flyweight champ?
Well, like going back to like men's 55, Manuel Torres, I do think is going to have a great year, and I feel pretty good about that. I feel like there's good evidence for that, and I have a strong feeling. This one, I don't, man. I just don't know what to say. Like, this division kind of sucks. I went Natalia Silva. I know she, I think she fought just one time last year. She did look good for the most part. She does seem like a credible challenge to the title. I don't know. I just kind of went with her on this one because I didn't want the same pick as you, and it seems like it's plausible here.
Yeah, it seems like you put a lot of thought and belief behind it. You're like, I just threw it up in the air.
Well, dude, like, I mean, the Fiorot one, like, I kind of believe in her, but at the same time, her game is limited and she's kind of aging, even though she's a good athlete. And Silva's a little bit more offensively active, so I mean, there's reasons to think that you can. I don't know. The division sucks.
All right, Naoya, you're staying with Shevchenko, which I think is possible. So, do you believe that the 135 opportunity will not open for her?
Yeah, because I think they run that fight back, the Amanda Kayla fight, no matter what happens, and that ties that up. I think Val probably fights Natalia Silva, beats her, and then I think she either gets like a Macy Barber or an Erin Blanchfield to close the year, and those are her two title defenses, remains champ.
Very well could happen. Obviously, my bold prediction was that she moves up to fight the winner of Kayla versus Amanda, which is either way, it's a huge fight. Breakthrough fighter of the year. LT and I both going Macy Barber, who bounced back, had a tough fight, won it, seems to be healthy, is on a great winning streak overall. That's a great pick. Naoya, a friend of the program, Veronica Hardy, going to make a run here?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, dude, she had that nice little resurgence where she won 3 in a row. Then she lost one. Last year, she only fought once. It was a win. But I feel like if she's just a little more active, she can totally jump into the top 10, into the conversation at least.
All right, let's stay with Naoya here. Give me a bold prediction for this division.
Sorry. All top 5 fighters, 6 including the champion, will remain in the top 5. Not in their exact spots, but no one is going to exit that top 6.
Interesting. LT, where are you going? I'm sure you're excited about this.
Shevchenko is going to go to 35, and I do think that a potential fight for a title up there, either with Kayla or Amanda, is actually one of the better fights you can make in women's MMA for sure. But I'm not saying she's like automatically going to go. She might have one more in this division, something like maybe even 2 more, and then goes to the end of the year. I don't know, but I just feel like she's going to move to 35.
Yeah, I think that's going to go the same way. Let's go to women's bantamweight, where last year I predicted that 3 different women would hold the title in 2025. That was wrong. Nocita predicted that Holly Holm would headline a UFC event. I believed in that, but that was wrong. She's, by the way, Holly Holm this Saturday fighting for a women's boxing title again on that MVP Amanda Serrano card on DAZN. So shout out to her. LT, you predicted that Kayla would become champion. Well done, dude. Well done.
That one felt like fairly straightforward, but yeah, there you go.
All right, who will end this year as women's bantamweight champion? That's the real question. Will Shevchenko move up? Who wins Kayla versus Amanda at 324, which is one of the best fights in the sport's history? I'm predicting that Kayla Harrison will close this year as the champion, and I'm going to play it once again right into my bold prediction. Not only will Kayla Harrison defeat Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko this year, she will end the year with the UFC broadcasters hyping her as the new greatest female fighter of all time, and me trying to set up a fight against Cyborg to cement it, although I don't have that power. So that's my boldness and my pick on champion. Luke, who ends this year as the champ at 35?
That is very bold. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to say it's Shevchenko. I think she moves to 35, and BC, if it ends up being Nunes in a third fight, I think she might have her number at this point, although, certainly Shevchenko was older too, and in some ways less dynamic. But I feel like she just doesn't mind grinding out slow wins if she has to, and she knows how to do it. She keeps herself safe. She doesn't take big punches for the most part. I think she might be quite formidable for some of these ladies. And again, like, with Kayla Harrison, if she can get into the clinch with you, yeah, it's trouble. But, Shevchenko's going to be quicker, going to be lighter on her feet, able to keep distance. Might get a takedown of her own. I don't know. I'm going to go bold, BC. I'm going to say Shevchenko.
Nocita, your pick on who ends the year as champion does kind of play into your bold prediction. Where are you going here?
Yeah, so my bold prediction is that Kayla and Amanda are both going to retire at some point in 2026.
Wow.
Now, I think one of them is going to go 2-0 against the other. I don't know which one it's going to be, but it's going to force them both to eventually just go, I won both, I have nothing left, and the other one who lost both go, why am I still doing this? Whether it's the weight cut, whether it's the age, whatever. So I think the title will be vacated. I don't think the division will cease to exist. I think they'll have like what am I looking for? A vacant title fight booked in early 2027 or something, but at the end of 2026, no UFC women's bantamweight champion.
All right. And LT, your bold prediction was that Shevchenko has the trilogy with Nunes.
Yes, I think that's the one that might be more likely of the two. Or she may just end up getting it. I don't know, but one way or the other, I think that is a great possibility.
And you put that she gets revenge, so she gets the win. Val,
right? Yeah, that's right. She was getting revenge in the first one before it ended. She arguably got it in the second. I don't know if she messes it for a third.
Dude, I really wish that the UFC would sign both Cyborg and Pacheco, and then we could have these 5 women in the same division. And I know Pacheco's not in this discussion, but the other 4 could have a claim for GOAT if they kind of run the table. It would allow it to happen. My breakthrough fighter of the year will be Larissa Pacheco, in my opinion. Now, look, she has not fought at bantamweight since that short-lived run in the UFC in 2017. She's fought at featherweight and lightweight, but the desperate plea she made on Twitter for Dana White to sign her would tell me that she could follow Kayla's lead, trim down the weight, because it's the only place that can employ her at this level. So I think that happens. Both of you guys, though, are picking one Bia Mesquita.
Bia Mesquita is excellent. Her style is translating very well to MMA. She's got some subs. She's got some ground and pound. She's got physical style. I think she's going to have a great 2026, and I'm sure LIL agrees.
Yeah.
She's marketable, too, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey,
BC, I went to a strip club. They had a bunch of marketable women in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, future waitresses, just like the strawweight division. All right, our women's featherweight picks. There's no such thing. Let's go to our awards in MMA to close out the year. First category is event of the year. Your nominees are UFC 311, UFC 317, UFC 323, and the UFC Fight Night Paris card, with the main event involving Nasruddin Imavov against Caio Borralho. And the winner is, on voting done by 2 Lukes, BC. And if we needed Mikey or Matt Snyder, they could have broken the tie. Here's the result. UFC 322, November, Madison Square Garden, headlined by Islam Makhachev defeating Jack Della Maddalena. You had Valentina versus Weili in the co-main, and then you had that 4 or 5 straight run of big-time KOs. You had Dylan Dennis getting beaten up in the crowd. I think that's the right pick here, but Luke Nocita, you had this on your ballot as number 2. Can you argue against 322 here as the pick?
I just remember you saying to me, BC, if you guys remember, I was camping for 317. I was super pissed about it. I barely got to watch it. I didn't get to watch any of it live, really. I had to watch it all the next day. You told me, you were like, it made me a fan of the sport again, man. That's the UFC. That's what it was. And I kept thinking of that, and I was like, damn. And even when I was watching it the next day, which always takes a little, like, I don't know, pizzazz out of it, I was like, damn, this is still actually like really fucking entertaining, even like kind of knowing what already happened. 322 I was at, but I was backstage most of the time. That might have taken a little of the shine away from
I was
it.
front row for the first time in like 4 years, so that played a part in it.
I know.
Too,
we did have like 4 straight knockouts in a row between like Bo Nickel, BSD, Prates,
Morales, Prates, and then you had Islam and Valentina looking historically dominant. Yeah,
it was my number 2, and I want to give a shout out to UFC Paris, which people probably don't remember, but it tied the record for most knockouts on a card. There was like 9 knockouts, so it was a pretty entertaining card. Yeah.
More finishes than me watching Wild Things on VHS in the 90s for sure. And UFC 317, for those wondering, was the International Fight Week card headlined by Ilia Topuria against Oliveira. You had Josh Van against Royval on there. You had Pantoja KKF. Very good card. And I think 311 was very good too. Great band. Pretty damn good card. I know the disappointment in not getting Armin in the main event. We had Moicano instead. Diluted it. But that Umar versus Merab co-main was absolutely fantastic. Big time knockouts up and down. Speaking of knockouts, let's go to knockout of the year, where your nominees are Topuria Oliveira, Almeida Alhassan, Quillen Salkild Nasrat Hakparast, Lerone Murphy spinning shit against Aaron Pico, Hoofi versus Green, and you versus Sarahi. And the winner is Mauricio Hoofi's spinning back kick over King Green. Shades of Terry Edom getting sent to hell. Narrowly wins the decision. Luke Thomas, you voted for this. Why?
Well, I try to take into consideration the context of the bout itself as well as the skill level of both opponents. And I think there are some other choices you can make depending on how you value something like that in this year. But this was on a fairly big platform in terms of the card. It wasn't an Apex fight, is what I'm trying to point out.
Yeah, UFC 315.
It had it had known names, I'll say that, and then some exciting up and coming names sort of mixed together. But really, what took this KO to the next level is just how fucking acrobatic it was, and also in the moments leading up to the KO in the earlier parts of the fight. Hoofi was kind of styling on him to begin with. Like it felt like almost like a dance number or something. It was just really a guy in complete flow state with a devastating KO, of a known puncher and a very, respected veteran. KOs do come better, but not much better than that. It was very, very good.
I think it was a close vote. I ended up having that pick as my third. I have no problem with it winning. My number 1 was Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico. With the combination of Pico, we thought could end up like getting a title shot with a win, and he walked into something that we just never expected from Lerone Murphy. So it was so just breathtaking and shocking. I also love that Quillen Salkild ridiculous knockout of Hakparast. Long Island Luke, you went off the board in a completely different direction. Speak of it.
All right. Well, the first card of the year, I know it takes a lot for people to remember all the way back to like January 12th, whatever it was, but Cesar Almeida, Abdul Razak Alhassan. Abdul Razak Alhassan's rushing in with all these shots. Cesar's just taking his time, counter left hook. Razak Alhassan dropped like a sack of potatoes, smashes. Like it was one of the most aesthetically pleasing knockouts you'll ever see. I had the Lerone Murphy Pico number 2. And then Zombie Jr., Ju Sang Yu with the left hook on Jekasaragi at UFC 316, where he just hits him with the counter left and he face plant KOs him. I mean, to me, it's all about the aesthetics, not as much as like what's on the line, who the fighter is. And those two were beautiful.
Yeah, we had a lot of really cool knockouts this year. It was hard to pick. Let's go to submission of the year, where your nominees are Gian Silva, Bryce Mitchell, Sean Brady over Leon Edwards, Costello Van Steenis over Johnny Eblin in the PFL, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez against Roman Dolidze, Walter Walker getting the ankle of Sutherland, and Makhachev Moicano from UFC 311. And your winner is the rear naked choke of Costello Van Steenis upsetting Johnny Eblin. Luke Thomas, you went with that, but why?
The last, the relative last minute nature of it, the surprise factor. I did not, like Long Island Luke, I did not watch this fight live. And then I had people hitting me up being like, yo, did you see Johnny Eblin got choked out from the back by Van Steenis? It was last second, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I got to go see this. And in a 5-round bout, bloody, tired, and the whole 9 yards, found a way at the fucking, basically right at the buzzer, pretty close to it anyway, to take the title from a guy who was a very, very dominant top. It was just so, this is why to me, like, aesthetics matter. And again, there's no wrong answer here, but for me, aesthetics matter, but context matters too. This choke by itself, if it happened in the first minute and 30 of a fight, maybe it doesn't win anything. But the context of it puts it so late, big upset.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, holy shit. This guy really did something special. It's got to be him.
Both Luke's had that number one. I did not have it in my top three. I have no issue with it being in contention. Dude, I got to go Fluffy Hernandez against Roman Dolidze. And it's not even because the rear naked choke was so beautiful. To me, it's the context of the one-sided ass kicking, the fact that he just like dragged him, dropped him to the ground like John Jones dropping Machida face first, and just like ragdolled like you're not even on my level. And Dolidze is a badass. For him to just completely beat him down and then just choke him out and drop him, I loved it. I loved the impact of the Silva one because everybody was kind of looking for Bryce Mitchell to get served, and that ninja choke was beautiful. He put him out. It was a very big moment. And I just love the technique, even though I'm not a ground guy, Luke, you know this, right? Of Makhachev's Bravo
you are a hater
against Moicano was just efficient, brilliant, wonderful. Long Island Luke, we missing any here in terms of praise?
Luke's got something.
I don't think it should win, but I do think it's worth mentioning Sean Brady, the mounted guillotine, or the from half guard mounted, or the top half guard guillotine on Leon Edwards was filthy, highly technical. He dominated that bout. That at least deserves honorable mention.
Sure.
I was going to bring up the submission itself. You don't want to really highlight, but Walter Walker with his 4th straight heel hook. I feel like just the fact that he got 4 straight is fucking wild. And I literally said going into that 4th fight, I was like, I don't even care what happened. I'm taking Walter Walker by sub. And the fact that it happened.
But here's the problem, bro. I mean, this is the thing. Like Brady is out here finishing off champions. Like if you're winning 4 bouts in a row via heel hook, you're fighting donks. I mean. I don't know how else to say it.
The fact that he's won 4 in a row at heavyweight in the UFC and is still not ranked, or if he is, he's like barely ranked, is fucking wild.
That's some Mackenzie shit until you step up and then you find out about it.
Yeah.
Luke, did you see that Walter Walker is going to be on Karate Combat grappling against that guy with no legs? This is a true thing.
Yeah. Well, the good news is no one's going to get paid, so who cares, right?
Yeah, that's true. They're having issues right there.
Allegedly.
Let's go to the fight of the year in MMA, and your nominees are Joshua Van Brandon Royval from UFC 317, Merab versus Umar from UFC 311, Esteban Rivovic versus Elvis Brenner at UFC Vegas 110, Lopez versus Silva, the banger at Noche UFC, and the Dana White Contender Series Instant Classic of Adrian Luna Martinetti versus Mark Volagdan. And your winner is... it's the Dana White Contender Series, Week 9. It was Donk versus Donk, but these hungry young guys went after it in a Rocky movie style. I voted it number 1. Long Island Luke had it number 2. Luke Thomas, you had it number 1. It's rare that something outside of main UFC fare would get this distinction, but these two guys were willing to die in the cage that year.
Well, this is also rare for me. I typically don't select fights like this for Fight of the Year. So, for example, the year that Brian Stan fought Vanderlei Silva, I think that made a bunch of people's Fight of the Year award winner. And for me, that wasn't the case. It was a good, it was an amazing fight. It was, not Rock'em Sock'em. It was crazy with a dramatic finish. It was great. But to me, it's like, if it's Rock'em Sock'em, it's very, very hard to win that when you've got guys who can have action fights, 5 rounds for much higher stakes against much better guys, right? So that to me tends to be the way that I go. But this one is a little bit different. Luna Martinelli was you called them both donks. I don't agree. Vlogden actually looks pretty fucking good. Now, he donked it up a little bit to fight fire with fire in this contest. But at the same time, I think he's actually got some real ability. I'm curious to see what he can do in his career. Obviously, that amount of damage that he took was fucking insane. Luna Martinelli, to me, is a little bit more... did I say his name right? Yeah, Martinetti. Excuse me. Luna Martinetti. He seemed to be scrappier of the two, and it took him to another place. But, dude, this is one of the most... This was Fry Takayama, kind of, for 15 minutes. I mean, I know that's a comparison you're never supposed to make, but this one went on in ways that you thought, surely it can't keep being this way. And it did. Minute after minute after minute, momentum swing after momentum swing, big shot after big shot, bloodied, bruised, battered, but not in spirit beaten. Oh my God, dude. This fight was I needed a cigarette when this fight was over. This was incredible.
It was. I mean, I had to rewatch it to make my pick, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not picking against this. Hard to pick against, though, Josh Van overcoming Brandon Royval because it was a #1 contender fight. It was on a pay-per-view. Long Island Luke, you had that at #1. What'd you love about that one?
I was just that was my exact logic, BC. It was more important of a fight, and like I felt weird picking a contender series fight #1, as all action and crazy as that was. But I really want to harp on my #3, Esteban Ribovic, Elvis Brenner, dude. That was a banger of a fight. That was the same card as Chris Duncan, Mateusz Raumbetsky, and I was deciding between which of those two to put on. I ended up looking at the stats. Ribovic, Brenner both had like more output, so I was like, all right, I'll pick that one. I don't even remember which one was which, but both those fights were bangers. Royval Van was the only fight I got to watch live on that said camping trip, International Fight Week. So I remember being like, holy shit, that was awesome. And people weren't even talking about that at the end of the night. They were talking about Ilya. So
yeah, even though Royval Van was nasty, like it was technical too. And that's what I kind of like. I mean, Royval wasn't moving his head, but there was a lot of technical qualities. I want to shout out the first Paul Hughes Usman Nurmagomedov fight that opened the year, that was in the discussion all year. And even though it only went a round and a half, and those fights don't normally make it here, my #3 pick was Diego Lopez, Gian Silva, because it was just batshit crazy, dude. It was just back and forth. And Luke, I think another one in that conversation was the Khalil Roundtree Yuri one. The first 2 rounds were timid, but that 3rd round was my round of the year. It was absolutely insane.
Well, Yuri was getting teed off on those first 2 rounds. I mean, he wasn't getting, completely mangled, but it wasn't going his way. And then he just turned everything up in the 3rd, and holy shit, look what happened. But I want to say this, for my #2 slot, and this is kind of the direction I would more normally go, I think Merab versus Umar is in contention, and for different reasons. This is a case where you had a guy come out and put Merab on his fucking heels a little bit, and Merab had to kind of battle back. But by the end, remember, it was all the drama about him just kind of doing like what Cody Garbrandt did to Dominic Cruz, where he's like doing the robot and styling and pointing and laughing at him. Like the theatrics of it and the triumphant nature of it. And again, we all thought Umar was going to fucking win, to go back to the predictions that we all made. That fight ruled. Now, I couldn't pick it because it just wasn't as obviously not as action oriented as the one that won, that one that was so over the top I couldn't.
It was a technical thriller.
Yeah, it was that to me is more of a technical thriller where there's really on the line. I give both those guys a lot of respect for that fight. That was tremendous.
Yeah, I loved it. So many fun fights this year. Let's go to Female Fighter of the Year across MMA, and your nominees are Kayla Harrison, Mackenzie Dern, Fatima Klein, wow, and Valentina Shevchenko, and this winner was unanimous. The winner is Shevchenko. Luke, I actually think if we're going to put male and female together, that she's the actual fighter of the year across the board for what she did, beating unbeaten #1 contender Manon Fiorot, and then completely blanking Zhang Weili in a fight that people thought was going to be 50-50. Shout out to the 37-year-old?
37, I think.
Come on.
I think that's a little much to put her like in that kind of space, but
well, just because you hate women doesn't mean that should come into this argument. You know what I mean?
No. See, here's the thing. I don't have other opinions out there that evidence that fact. I don't do that. But in a fair reading of it, dude, this is how down the year was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Long Island Luke. Here's one of the things that I really struggled with. How many women even fought 3 times this year. Very few.
Fatima Klein did, which BC acted surprised when I picked
Yeah.
her. But,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But this is my point.
There's levels. Come on.
But this is my point. There were women who had like good, solid, memorable wins this year. And then you look at their record and they fought once, maybe twice. 3 times was almost impossible to find. So it was not a banner year for that side of the sport, if we're just being honest. However, in looking at that side, BC, I don't know who else would be but Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know how who else. Kayla had a nice win, but that's it. Like that, this lady had a couple of really good wins. It's easy.
Dern had 2 wins, but that's a lower level. That's a lower level.
Much lower level. Totally. I mean, Valentina was defending a title and or fighting pound for pound people. Like,
yeah,
come on.
No, indeed. It's a runaway in that regard. But yes, shout out to Fatima Klein for breaking through. I'm always against. I remember when Cynthia Calvillo had 5 wins in a year and people were like, she's a fight of the year contender. I'm like, there's levels. Okay. Like, I'm going to take champions that are defending twice over that. Let's go to male fighter of the year. This is going to be interesting because of what happened to Merab in December. Your nominees for male fighter of the year in 2025 are Merab Dvalishvili, Islam Makhachev, Joshua Van, and Piotr Yan. And your winner is Islam Makhachev. But the voting, as you can see, was incredibly close. I went Islam. Long Island Luke went Merab, not surprisingly, as ESPN.com did. LT went Islam. Now, look, for me, I love what Merab did. I love his ambition. But I can't give it to you. Like, I remember when Conor McGregor, you could make an argument in 2016, even though he lost to Diaz, he came back to avenge the loss in one of the best fights in company history, and then moved up in weight to knock out Eddie Alvarez to become champ. In that case, like the Robbie Lawler case you mentioned, you put the loss away from you. Maybe because the loss is so recent, I can't give a guy who just lost fighter of the year. I can't do it. That's just me. Also, Islam, although he didn't fight Saryukin, he fought Moicano, he moved up in weight and absolutely dominated. To me, this is a no-brainer, but I'm sure you can argue Merab, or is this just a Long Island thing? Where are you at, Nocita?
It's probably a Long Island thing, but I just wanted to note, I just messaged you guys. I've had a poll out this entire episode with 1,000 votes. 44% of the donks out there thinking Merab's fighter of the year as well. He defended his belt 3 times. That alone I feel like going into the Yan fight, we were all like, yeah, he's all but solidified it. And then like after the Yan fight, we're all quick to write him off. Islam, sure, moving up, double champ, but like no disrespect to JDM. I feel like I've been disrespecting JDM all year. No disrespect to JDM, but like he never even defended the belt. We might look back at that title reign and be like, oh, he was kind of a fluky champion. Maybe,
yeah.
We don't know. And Moicano being the other one, where's Moicano right now? 10 to 15 range, like journeyman status. I got
you. Luke Thomas.
Here's the problem. The problem is, if you're a pound for pound guy like Merab, and not just that, but a guy who at the time of the Yan fight was arguably number 1, but he wasn't our number 1, but at worst top 3, you cannot lose 50-45, which I know on some of the scorecards that Merab had 2, but only one of the other ones, but you could score 50-45. Fine, let's just say 49-40, 44, whatever the fucking number is. I can't 49-46, whatever the fucking number is. You can't lose to a guy that thoroughly who's not even ranked pound for pound at the time of the loss and then expect to win awards at the end of the year. That's my belief. My belief is if you're a pound for pound guy, of course you're going to win, of course you're going to lose, but it needs to be better than that to then be like, oh, this guy is also the guy who was the best guy this year. It can't be both to me. And I recognize that it's not an argument that Yan is a scrub. Far from it. Former champion. Look what he did. It was one of the most impressive things. But at the time that fight was made, Yan wasn't even on the fucking list, and he thoroughly beat his ass. Sorry, you forfeit awards in my book when that happens.
I kind of think it's the same thing about Van. Even though the win over Royval is so damn impressive, and even though you could always argue that injury was caused by him for throwing Pantoja down, it was early. It was freak. He didn't beat him. So I can't give him that award.
He didn't beat him with martial arts skill, is what you mean.
Right. And Yan at the same time, the first win was Marcus McGee, not on the same level. It's a great story, but Islam's the best fighter in the world, and all he did was move up in weight and shut out the champion. So there you go.
Is there anything to be said though, real quick, for the level, like where Merab's guys were ranked? His 3 wins this year, they were probably like number 1, number 2, number 1.
Yes.
So
I think you can. Listen. Let me just say this, Long. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
I think you can make an argument for Merab number 1. I think it's not like my rule is ironclad, but for me, pound for pound, if we're gonna do this whole shit where we're ranking guys pound for, it has to mean something, and you should never lose to a guy unranked on pound for pound that way ever.
That's fair.
But here's the problem: Merab had more good wins than anyone else had. That's the other part of it too, right?
I don't know. Maybe I guess I'm alone. I mean, ESPN gave it to him. I'm not mad if people give it to Merab. I just have rules inside where I can't. I don't date chicks that smoke cigarettes or have tattoos on their neck, Luke. It's just what it is. You know what I mean?
You know what I noticed too, BC? In the United States, I don't know if I see people like hit cigarettes too much anymore. Everyone's got a vape. But let me assure you, cigarettes are alive and well here in South America.
Yeah,
they're smoking them, buddy.
The rest of the world, they're they're hitting those darts. Let's go. Those are our awards, our predictions, all that. Hope you enjoyed them. Now we transition to where you can reach out to the show. Normally, our email address, morningcombat@gmail.com. By the way, this Friday is. Oh wait, no, we're pre-recording. So Luke, should we do one last fan subs on my last episode on Monday in lieu of DMs from Donks?
I think it's your call.
All right, because I've had some people reach out and say, can we do one more? I want to send you one. Your last chance for fan subs in the BC era will be Monday, January 5th, my last episode. So head on over to morningcombat@gmail.com. 9/11 fans, let's be careful here, all right? And let's send in your fan sub.
I like how it's like, listen, if you're a fan of 9/11, I need you to have some discretion. It's like, I'm sorry, a fan of what exactly?
Yeah, exactly. But every Sunday night at Morning Combat on IG and Twitter or X, we give you the chance to ask your questions. This is DMs from Donks. Wow, that climaxing farm animal. Let's hear it.
Can you take that animation and sound with you? Is that possible?
Yeah, I really wish I could right there. Let's hear from _G Malik _ which fighter are you most excited about in 2026? I think that's a great question. In combat sports, which fighter's arc or journey or where they're going? I have to say Islam Makhachev because this division's so loaded, but then if I know he's probably fighting Kamaru, I'm not that interested in that, so maybe that pulls away from it, right?
Man, that's a great one.
I'd say Shakur Stevenson for me, coming off of that breakthrough win. Now he's got Teofimo at the end of January. Yeah. If he wins that, he's getting a massive one with Turkey in the spring.
I might say it's tough because there's big fights I want to see, but I don't know about like a whole maybe in MMA. I'm actually going to say, even though he's kind of up against it, just because we talked about earlier, the Count of Monte Cristo tour this guy's on. Maybe Arman Tsarukyan, honestly, to kind of see what he can do and make with limited opportunities to an extent. On the boxing side, BC, that one's tougher because I want to see. I hope AJ is okay, but the AJ Fury fight, everyone wants to see that. We talked about the all Japanese showdown. Everybody wants to see that. But I don't know if I've got a single fighter I've got my eye on. I don't know.
I'm going Ian Gary too. I want to see how he's going to do against the very elite. We saw that loss to Shavkat, but I want to continue to see that arc right there. Tom Aspinall coming back, Poatan at heavyweight. I mean, there's some things there I want to see, but Long Island, Luke, you got anybody special you're watching?
No, I feel like I just want to see more movement in the divisions rather than I want to see like one particular fighter like do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arman was a good call, Luke. I'm interested to see what Arman's doing.
All right, our second question comes from, come on, Reggie. From Sticks Plays Time. What's your wildest New Year's Eve party story?
Oh, God, bro. I got thrown out of the Mayflower Hotel. Do you remember who was the governor of New York who was in the Mayflower? He had the scandal. He was banging all the whores. What was his name?
Cuomo, maybe?
No. Oh my God, you two. Why am I asking you two dullards?
Yeah, like we know any. I live in New York.
Wadia. I mean, where are we going?
He was a former prosecutor. He was bald on top.
Ed
Anyway,
Koch, where you go? There's a mayor. Yeah.
Ed Koch is, I mean, does that guy's prostate even work at this time? I forget the guy's name, but look him up. Just look up New York Governor Mayflower Hotel scandal. Anyway, so one night we went out to the 18th Street
Elliot
Lounge.
Spitzer?
Ed Spitzer. Yes, that's him. So I went to 18th Street Lounge, BC, and we got thrown out of there. And a buddy of mine got thrown out of there because he was urinating in one of the sinks that they openly use in the kitchen. So that wasn't great. We got thrown out of there, and then we went to a place next door, and a buddy of mine got jumped there. A different guy, actually the other guy's brother, he got jumped there, and then we all ended up retreating back to the Mayflower, which is just down the street. And then they got in a fight with the people who were next door. So then the Mayflower just threw us all out. And we found our friend who got jumped later at the second place because we lost track of him. And he showed up without his jacket on and his face covered in lumps. Like, he'd really gotten his ass whooped. So, I used to drink a lot is the moral of the story. Don't do that.
Yeah, I got really sloppy ones. I don't even think I want to share them. I mean, they've involved things I can't really share, but
oh, look at Mr. Corporate now.
I mean, I've shared it before.
Now.
I mean, it was 2001, first time I had Red Bull and vodka, and I drank like 8 of them in a row after drinking 10 beers, and didn't realize that the caffeine would turn me into a Tasmanian devil. I was stopping traffic to try to commandeer vehicles. The fire alarm happened at the hotel, and I threw up right on the policeman's shoes. Like, there were things that went down that night that were very regrettable, but yeah.
It's a miracle I was never arrested.
I know. I sometimes feel the same way. I'm glad those days are over. Let's go to the next one from short_fluke. What's a segment idea you each had that never made it to air on MK that you wish had made it? I mean, I've had a lot of ideas shot down that were doc wise, where I wanted to bring cameras to places that the rest of the people didn't want it to, like your meeting with Ariel in doc number 5, like when Jay got fired over speakerphone in the hotel room. Like, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, we got to record this.
Didn't you want to do, it might have been a doc thing too, BC, but 5 minutes of stand-up comedy, and we'd be like heckling.
That is
you.
it.
Yeah.
In the peak of Skits and Bits, Luke, we actually, there was an idea, but I think we either ran out of budget or ran out of time before Showtime died. We were going to rent out a comedy club, fill it with Malka employees. I was legitimately going to write the best 10-minute stand-up I could and probably bomb. And that was going to be the doc where it's like, if Shab can do it, I can do it too. Dude, that would have been epic.
I would have heckled you like no one's fucking business. I would have thrown rotten tomatoes at you and called you slurs. But yeah, it would have been great. I'm to be honest, like, what ideas have we had that there was stuff we shot the shit about, but like, if we ever had like a real ass idea,
Oh, MK in your house, dude, that would have been great. Not just for the menage a wife that we would have pulled off, but like,
we
more
kind of
like,
flirted with the idea for a while of going to the houses of our listeners so BC could have sex with their wives and girlfriends.
Well, it was more like Chef Mark Paquette up in Nova Scotia could cook while Jay Paquette entertains us. That would have been great.
But they ran into some logistical and legal hurdles, so we couldn't. So
yeah. We what a time, man. What a time. Luke, we had a fucking show.
We had a hey, bitch, I still got one.
Let's go to Exo Soul 6, who says, what is the best advice you have for the new year? Luke, let me guess. Don't follow your dreams. Don't believe in yourself, right?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be truthful with you.
Okay.
I'm actually glad that I'm on not really full vacation, but semi vacation here, because it's been nice to get away. It's been nice to, read for pleasure. It's been nice to just be away from it all. It gives me a chance to decompress, which I think after a year like this I needed. Here's my motto for 2026. I cannot tell you anything that I know will work for whatever your problems are or whatever mine might be, or any of us. Like, these things are these are unknowable. But if somebody like me, a curmudgeon, a misanthrope, prick, you take your choices, If
I
someone like
consider
me
you a
can,
friend, Luke. Okay, a
all
friend,
right,
not a
friend,
friend.
and I can be a friend too. But if someone like me can say this to you, maybe consider it. I think it's time to try again. Try again. Dust yourself
Yeah.
off a little bit.
Yes. Let's go, Luke.
Stand tall. And here's the truth, man. None of this shit might work. I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't know. But I know that it's always going to be better in the end to give whatever effort you have to whatever those needs that you might have might be. And I wish you all the best of luck in standing tall this year. How
I
about
love that. I agree with so much of that. Let your losses be on the field, which means don't lose in the on deck circles, hyping yourself out of it. Go all in. The fortune favors the bold. But this year, I'm really, really getting in tune with look. We all know it's a battle mentally, us versus us. Like that's really what it is at the end of the day. You versus yourself. I'm really digging in research wise into the subconscious because I've had these times through the years where I could go to therapy and I could be like, I'm not upset about this. I'm not harboring about this, but yet my family feels like I'm on edge. I'm not sleeping. I'm whatever. There's a internal battle going with our subconscious where if you're not reprogramming your own brain and your own subconscious with the right things intentionally and aggressively, you almost don't have a shot at winning. I read something that only 5% of our thoughts are created by us. 95% of it are by our subconscious. It's that computer that's constantly running that we feed with fear or whatever. That what people say, like your subconscious can't tell what's real or not. So if you tell it you're going to fail and you're harping on that, you're going to fail. That's just how it works. I've been reading books. I've been listening to lectures. I am so focused on getting out of my own way and being as delusional as I can about what can happen to me in life, because I've been the other way. And yeah, I might break through once in a while and have some good moments, but I'm sick of not sleeping well. I'm sick of, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff that you're just like, well, that's life. No, it doesn't have to be. You got to.
One more, if I may, BC, which is I've seen this guy on social media. I don't know his name. Forgive me. But he's been talking about these works of this philosopher. I'm not going to go into him, but it's a French philosopher or sociologist talking about class and the difference between classes. And he goes on to say that there really isn't, like, you can get the architectural design of a grand cathedral. And of course, it's going to be more complex than what you get for like government housing, but it's all context dependent in how you see the beauty, because somebody who came from a situation where maybe they didn't have indoor plumbing and they didn't have, heated or their own central AC. Now they've got that. This is a beautiful thing to them. It fills them with joy. They see greatness in it. It can be quite subjective. It can be quite subjective in that sense. At the same time, though, that one of the lessons to take from this is like, if you don't invest in, and I'm going to use the word beauty loosely here, like, the improvement of things, trying, right? If you don't invest in that, then you kind of get used to the idea that you only deserve the lesser. Yeah. And you kind of just brainwash yourself over time by just accepting more, not just fate, but the very material circumstances of that moment in fate. And it is always going to be better for your mental health, for your life more generally, for the enjoyment and the way you see the world, if you try to make an effort at, and again, I'm using the word loosely, at beautifying the life around you, in the ways that you can. So I think also take that with you, maybe.
Don't give up, folks. Keep going. Keep going.
If that doesn't work, then just give up. I mean, just call it a day. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Great stuff right there. Finally, from Flannels and Jits, what are BC's top 10? Well, that's a lot.
Okay, what the fuck kind of question is this?
Top 10 MK moments of all time. I'm sure we're going to get into something like this in my final episode, Monday, January 5th, a week from today. But obviously, Luke, what's the best moment in MK history? You and me standing on, in my opinion, you and me standing on that podium, winning that award. And whatever that award is actually worth in real life, to us, it meant legit validation. We beat Ariel in DC. We beat 3 UFC produced programs. Like, we went in there, we rocked the boat of what this art form can be. We were true to ourselves, and it caught up with us in a good way. People noticed, they watched, they joined, they supported, they stuffed ballot boxes with fake email addresses. The whole point is, like, we shocked the system. We made our mark. I'm never going to be more proud than that moment because of that. We also had doc cameras with us. Like, what a time, man. What a time.
Yeah. I mean, that one and the London one too.
Yeah.
The London one was pretty triumphant. for a moment in time. Now it all fell apart very quick, very quickly after that. But in all seriousness, yeah, those are two memories that they can't take those from us, can they?
And what sits with me beyond that are the times that we laughed our frickin' face off. You know what I mean? The times that, and there's so many. You remember that time in that basement hotel room in Uncasville, Connecticut, when I drank the water as you made fun of me and I spit it all over? Like moments like that where you're just like, you know what it is, Luke? That's just unbridled joy. And and that's what I'm searching for in life, you know, really at the end of the day. All right.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you for your questions, folks. As always, we close with our second to last batch of the Shiat. This is, have you seen the show? All right, a recap of the weekly wild viral videos. Let's go to Saudi Real recognizing real. How about Triple G and Cristiano Ronaldo showing some love? Luke, did this move you?
Hell yeah, sports washing.
All right. I mean, Triple G's looking a little thick, but that's fine. Luke, he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer, and you know, listen, the Big Drama Show or whatever was it called, Big Drama Show?
Yes.
You know, that can't go on forever, BC. You know, so like Trick Daddy being fat as hell. It happens to the best of us.
He earned it. He earned that girth. All right. Also in Saudi, we saw Usyk congratulating his pound-for-pound brethren, Naoya Inoue, after the victory over Picasso. I love long-haired Usyk doing the world tour. I just don't love that he keeps calling out Deontay Wilder. Enough of that, Usyk, okay? Enough.
Yeah, great to see these guys together, but I don't need to see the Wilder-Usyk fight. Don't care about that.
And Luke, you tell me, is this real recognizing real outside of T-Mobile? Hey, how about Mel Gibson and Patty Pimblett, Luke?
Bro, what is Mel Gibson's mouth doing if not making a racist slur? I don't know the answer to that.
Cursing the Jews, most likely, unfortunately, but yeah, there you go. that's Mel Gibson. Also here, Usyk snuck up on Eddie Hearn in the hotel with this giant penis gun. I don't get it, Luke, but I laughed. All right. I did laugh. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Don't ever send your family to an NFL game. Watch this young Eagles fan against the Bills fan here.
Oh, Philly.
Yeah, that was right before he threw batteries at Santa Claus. That's great stuff. The troll job of the week comes from Joshua Van calling out Manel Cobb for the gyno, Luke. Too busy trying to breastfeed everyone, he forgot his bra. Wow, dude.
Here's the thing. Here's why I support this. In part because it does appear that, you know, Cobb has it, but more to the point, Cobb seems like exactly the kind of guy you could taunt out of a game plan, you know?
Sure.
So might as well just start needling him to do it.
I think Cobb wins the championship and loses to Horiguchi. Like I said, Luke, it should be a wild year in that division, but maybe Josh Van's really the guy. Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see about that. All right. Let's go to volleyball for your fall of the week. Watch that linesman referee closely. Nice spike right there.
Oh,
boy.
Yo, dude, my man needs to work on his break falls. That looked like the thing at the county fair when you throw the softball and you hit the target and they get in the dunk tank.
It did. Luke, do you remember UFC fighter Mike Davis?
Yes. Super athletic guy, yeah.
Yeah, never forget this skit.
Fuck your protein powder.
What's next? What's the next step?
You know,
well played.
We may have shown that before, but that was worth a second one. All right. This week in Boston, Be a Man, he's talking about Christmas time.
Don't wear pink. Eat it. Be a man.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Did you just check out the nudes of a U.S. goalkeeper or what? Good Lord. Okay, let's go over to
Arby's. We have the meats.
Luke, how would you train for a prison shower fight? These MMA guys got it right. Check this out. Yeah, right? You know?
Man, I mean, I know they've got weapons in prison. I didn't know they were like that.
Yeah, Nasty Nate is waiting for you. Indeed. All right, T-shirt of the week time. Luke, would you wear this?
Is butt cheeks one word, or should I spread them apart?
No.
Where is the drive-by shooter when you need one? You know what
All
I
right.
mean?
Would you wear this one that Inoue was pimping?
The most influential boxing figure. Oh my god, dude. Turkey, get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here with this shit.
Luke, bend the knee. Bend the knee,
Oh
please.
my god, get the fuck out of here.
All right. Let's see your Christmas fall of the week.
See you later. Laters. Bye.
Oh, stupid fucking prick. I fucking knew it.
Did she shit her pants on the way down, Luke?
Dude, talk about adding insult to injury. My god.
Luke, I'm not a big amateur wrestling guy. Is this legal? Tell me.
It is.
What's that called? The rock bottom? I mean,
that's just a basic mat return, but
Okay.
he just fucking gave that guy frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
You can't spike in jiu-jitsu, and there's certain spikes you obviously cannot do in wrestling, but that one you can do.
All right. Luke, I had to bring her back one more time from France with love. Here's Celine, the cake lady.
Why don't you eat feces, you fucking bruja?
Luke, look at that
witch.
jacket. It looks tasty, right?
Yeah. Oh god, dude. Why does she look like AI? All her videos look like AI. Like AI.
I love when she
gone
makes that
wrong.
face at the end. She's like,
She's always like, pew pew.
admit it kind of turns you on, like kind of, right?
No, it is revolting, and I wish someone would run over her.
All right, Luke, it's time to rate that tat 1 to 10. Okay, 10 is a masterpiece. Let's go to Charles Oliveira, Do Bronx's new Pokemon-inspired leg sleeve.
I don't love it, to be honest with you. I don't know how good this goes as black and gray. The animation's okay, or the drawing is okay, but like it's a little hard to read.
What do you got, like a 6 on this?
Yeah, 6 or something like 6.5, maybe, something like that.
I don't watch anime. I don't want it on my body either, Luke. Check out this back tat, though. I was impressed with this, even if it scares me. What do you think about this, Luke?
Well, again, do we know if the camera was filtering it in some kind of way to make it look this way? However, if this is purely done from ink, this level of detail, this is a 10 out of 10. I mean, this is 1,000 out of 10.
But where's the butt crack?
Like the line work, the saturation of the color, like that is exceptional.
Does it go down to the cheeks too? I don't really understand.
Yeah, it must.
All right, let's check out this, brother. Do you like this do-rag head tat?
I don't know if you're going to get hired at KPMG with the tattoo like this.
All right, that's fair. Luke, let me introduce you to my new friend. He's called Nunchucks.
What's your name?
Numchuck.
Numchum?
Yeah, numchuck.
Numchuck?
Yeah.
All right, Numchuck, show me what you're working with. That's why they call you Numchuck?
Yeah, okay. Numchuck.
Do it again, Numchuck.
Shot 95, picking up a
Look, rate that nunchuck stat on his arm. All right.
I think this man needs medical attention.
Yeah, indeed. Luke, we found your license plate from when you used to live in Maine.
Ass boss. That's great.
Oh, did he? All right. Luke, you ever that famous Windows XP background? You can like find the location where it was shot. Watch this.
We were at the Windows XP background in real life. You guys remember this from the screensaver? Super cool. Do you have any Percocet?
There you go. We got one more for you, Luke. Never forget.
Morning.
What are these bombs doing everywhere?
That's all the shit we can handle this week, Luke. Okay.
I give it a C. It had some bangers, but it wasn't.
Yeah. 2 hours on the dot, Luke. Look at this.
Look at
I'm like
you.
Sully Sullinger landing this plane, right?
If that's his last name, sure.
All right. Thank you very much for watching. Reminder, folks, You can follow the show. You can like and subscribe, but the show's not ending. All right. Just my current role. We'll see what happens in the future if I get canned. You can follow us there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channels. One of those channels, of course, is the Main Card Minute with Luke Nocita. LIL, what can we expect from the prop quiz this week?
We got what do we have? The first semifinal matchup this Friday. It's I'm not gonna. Oh, I guess I'll really say it's Oscar versus Gaff. It's coming out Friday though, so look forward to that on Friday. And then I'm recording the next semifinal matchup later today. Actually,
I didn't.
Long Island. How is it possible? I'm in remote parts of Colombia and I have better internet than you.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what it is. It looks fine on here, but I see it on the front end there with the just terrible. It is raining outside. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yes, internet, but for the rain.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you.
Long Island Luke, do you have a New Year's resolution you want to share with the people at all? Maybe give up resin.
Oh shit, there's a lot of pressure. I haven't thought about it at all. But no, definitely not give up resin. No, what?
Resin is the leftover gifts. That,
Bro, I gotta tell you this before we get out of here. Like, Colombian New Year's Eve is wild, bro. So not only do they party roll it and all that kind of stuff, but like you make an effigy of yourself, and then you burn it at the middle of the night, right? And you have to eat a bunch of grapes, and you have to take your wedding ring and put it in a wine glass and then drink it. Not the ring, but the wine. And then you have to take all your luggage and run around the block. Dude, it sounds like I'm making a bunch of shit up. I promise you I'm not. Like, it's a whole thing. And we're supposed to be doing all of that this year. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, have fun with that. I'll be doing nothing, Luke. Okay, nothing at all. By the way, programming schedule. This Friday, January 2nd, we will have a pre-taped episode of part 2 of our MK documentary director's cut rewatch. Luke, it seems like people enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Except looking like a fat fuck. But other than that, it was nice to go down memory lane. And again, I hadn't seen those since the original airing, so it was cool.
Now, have you seen documentaries 5 through 7 that we're going to show?
So which one is the one where they came to the house?
That's 7. So 5 is Cleveland with Ariel. 6 is winning the award in Vegas. 7 is coming home.
So I've probably seen 6 and 7 multiple times, but that's it.
Have you seen 5?
I've seen 5. Actually, I think I've seen 5. I don't know.
All right, we're going to go behind the scenes and give you the inside look at that. It's going to be this Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Don't forget, a week from today, my final time in the studio, Meadowlark in Manhattan. What do we have planned for that? I don't think we'll have fights to recap, right? So what do we...
Let's do what do you want to do? It's your show. Like, let's do what you want to do. You want to do memory lane? You want to... Here's what I'm going to say. Can I ad-lib something here?
Yeah,
and I don't know if it will work.
I'm not into that.
Oh, hold on. I don't know if it will work. No, put it back up, Long Island. Put it back up. If you've got like an interesting or fun goodbye message for BC, send them in. Video, 30 seconds or less. I think that's pretty fair, right? 30 seconds or less. And audio, 30 seconds or less. Writing, keep it to, I don't know, 250 words. Something pretty manageable. But send it in and we'll play. We cannot play all of them, but we'll pick and choose some of the better ones and we'll play them for BC. And especially if you've been on the show in some capacity before. Appy, if you're watching this somewhere from a French prison, try and figure this out. Somebody who has been a donk of the year or part of the show. If you just want to say goodbye,
where's Davey and the donk? Where's Web Scream? We need these guys to come out of the woodwork.
Web Scream DMs me all the time. I talk to him all the time over DMs. Like you know what? Web Scream, you owe us one last piece of artwork. You owe us one last
morningcombat@gmail.com. Also, your final fan subs of this era for Monday. We'll do Have You Seen This Shit? What do you got, Nocita?
I was just trying to say shout out to Web Scream. I have his Hamilton poster he made of you guys hanging out.
So true class. I still have the 1917 poster on the wall with me above the head. That's the show for today. Hey guys, be safe this New Year's Eve, okay? Don't drive. Be safe. Have fun. 26 is going to be a big year for all of us, okay? So buckle up, get in, get ready, get in shape, get clear mentally, take care of yourself. Luke, safe travels home from Colombia. LTBC LIL, we say goodbye. We out of here. Thank you so much.